right, so this is super awkward because I'm going live on Kyle's stream. But as you guys might know, Kyle's deaf and can't exactly host his own stream by speaking. So that's where I am. Oh, this is super confusing because I can hear myself. There we go. Okay. So I just wanted to say hey to everybody. Obviously, we're here for Kyle. He's super awesome. And we're going to introduce the panel. We got deaf colorists. So Kai, say hello. There we go. Perfect. Got me, Shay Zombie. We've also got Cyborg Valkyrie. Say hey.
Hey.
That's like the smallest hey I've ever heard you do. Oh, you're so dumb. And then our special guest that we just stole from his own channel to come and hang out with us instead. We've got Tug.
Hey there. How's it going, folks?
Awesome. So I really don't even know what we're going to talk about other than Kyle is like fucking bomb-tastic. That's kind of all I got. I don't know. How do you guys want to roll this thing? I'm ready to drink.
Tug, what did you walk into?
What did I walk into? I know, man. I'm still sober. I know what's going on.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
That's always a mistake.
Well, it's always fun and games until someone breaks the alcohol out.
Right. Well, I heard lug on your stream, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm still parenting, so if I go quiet for a minute, the little one is still awake. So.
Oh yeah, definitely gotta at least stay somewhat on the ball.
Oh, that's right, the baby. I forgot.
The project's moving well, though. It
is.
It's at 111695. I want to say this right off the bat. I mean, we're looking at Mike Miller's. I didn't think about where Mike Miller was, and we're looking at under $2,000 now to bypass Mike Miller's first offering. That has to happen. It has to happen.
Absolutely. And there's no reason why it shouldn't. The amount of support that Kyle has already gotten from everybody and how many people have been super responsive. He's gotten shout outs from Ethan Van Skyver. He's gotten shout outs from a ton of other channels, other people that are just really into the Cyberfrog groups and all of his colors from there that they've seen. And then he comes over and he's doing StarBlades and people are like, oh, this dude can draw, he can color, he can write, he can do everything.
I don't know if a lot of people know, actually. I hit him up a long time ago, and I hit him up out of the blue, and I said, "Hey, would you color the Littlest Umbrella cover? After we get to a certain point." And he was on. He's helped out quite a few people like that. He's helped out a lot of people that really had small projects, and a person of his caliber, they don't have to. That's why I really want to see this succeed at this level.
Right, and it's been really interesting to kind of see how Kyle just kind of interacts. Like every time somebody asks him, so what are you hoping for StarBlades? The number one thing that he says is he just wants to bring the story to as many people as possible, and he just wants to make something that the fans are going to love and something that everyone kind of gets to enjoy. And that, like, to me, it's like the most pure answer. That's exactly what you want to hear from a creator, is that it's all about his customer base. And Kyle actually really means it. It's not pandering. It's not to try and get more support. It's that he actually just wants to make the best product he can. It's
rare to find. We talk about this thing, whatever you want to call it. You want to call it Comicsgate, you want to call it indie comics, but we talk about why we all get into it. I've been saying this all day long. I really feel like Kyle exemplifies that professional, going out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that have good projects, but man, I mean, he came out of left field for a lot of us. I thought, I just thought he was a colorist, and a great colorist, but still, and then, damn, he's full package there.
He is, yeah, he's definitely got a lot more hidden talents. So for those of you who don't know in the chat, Kyle made his video. So the putting it to music, which baffled the crap out of me because I've done video editing before, and the fact that he was able to pay attention to the peaks and valleys and know when certain parts of the song should change. His sister he explained to his sister what he was wanting to do, and his sister said, "This is the music that you need. It's that 90s nostalgia. That's exactly what you need to go for." And so he just kind of trusted her and then paid attention to how it changed and put that video out there. And he did it all himself. He drew it, he animated it, he did everything, and it's impressive as hell. Especially if you've ever done video editing, you know what a massive pain in the ass that is.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I had one summer where I was trying to video edit some really shitty like play that the seniors did in high school, and it was abysmal. It took my whole summer, and I still didn't finish it. So the fact that he did this in a month, with drawing it, with animating it, with putting it to music, making sure everything worked well, it's frustratingly awesome how good he is.
I'm looking at where he's at exactly with the project. Well, you know, what's amazing about this, I mean, we talk about, hey, let's bypass this person or that person, but actually he's $800 exactly away from bypassing Jim Starlin's. I mean, damn, you're talking about like, you know, Mr. Thanos, and it's amazing when you think about that, the impact that people can have.
Absolutely. And I think that I don't know, I think that the caliber that Kyle kind of brings to the indie scene and to Comicsgate and to everything like that is just it's kind of raising the bar, and it's giving everybody something to try and strive for and achieve. And it's definitely what will completely just deplatform and throw underwater any of the big two, simply because it's pure. It's back to what comics were supposed to be. It, you know, is absolutely gorgeous. It's like the most beautiful thing I think I've ever had to look at. I mean, if you can't tell, I'm wearing my StarBlades t-shirt. Made sure that I got that out. Yeah, just for Kyle. But it's the amount of like the skill level and everything of his art is just, it's unbelievable. And I don't even find this in most of the DC comics anymore. And most of the Marvel comics, I don't see it anymore. And it's nice to kind of see it come back. But
yeah, I picked up a few comic books today, and I mean, like I said, looking at those pages versus I picked up 6 comic books today. One comic book I thought was actually worth my money, you know, so I don't get very excited about going there, but you know, I can actually get excited about picking it. It's very interesting to be able to say that, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just did a con today, like a random con that's being held at my work. So how great could it be? But I was there for my husband's stuff, and seeing the level of artwork that's coming out of these indie creators is just, it's astonishing. And the fact that we have one that is so damn talented is super awesome. Who's apparently stuck back in disco. I love Kyle. He's so funny. Well, I am trying to figure out exactly what we are even going to talk about other than gushing over Kyle.
Yeah. I'm trying not to just start rambling, because, you know, that's basically what I do for my live stream.
Hey, Tug, could you save me from myself and just ramble for a little?
We were counting on you, Tug. You were.
I've been thinking, like, come on, Tug, ramble.
I really have been thinking about the like the purpose to all this stuff. Like, what have we been trying to achieve? You know, and we go out there, and there used to be a message. I pushed it very simply. You know, good product, professional, you know, and pick your people like that. And I mean, damn, I mean, that's where we're at here. And it's not, you know, that's not false. I don't go out and shill products. I haven't shilled a product, you know, talked about something in a long time. I do not open my platform up very much at all. But, you know, I've talked about 4 comic books in 7 months, I think. So, I mean, I'm talking like besides mine, I don't count mine in there, but yeah, I mean, 4 comic books, and you know, this is the first one. But like I said, I get stories from other people. You know, I hear about, hey, Kyle actually helped me learn about coloring from, you know, I hear from this person or that person, or, you know, he helped me out and I hear this other thing. He helped me learn about this for free. I thought, whoa,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I mean, and that doesn't just deserve respect. That actually deserves backing.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing is he's a very genuine individual. Like, I've gone to him and been like, I really want to get into lettering, and he started listing off people that he was like, you should talk to Eric Weathers, you should be talking to, just a huge list of people. It was like, these guys do lettering really, really well. And this is who, if that's what you want to get into, this is who you should talk to. And hey, I'm a flatter. And he's like, oh, I know all about flatting. Let me show you how to flat the quick and easy way and all that. And it's like the whole time.
Did Shay just?
Did I just lose her? All right. Yeah, I think we just. Okay, I was making sure it wasn't me that. I have.
I thought it was me.
Well, I have like 3 rats running together, and we call that internet. So, yeah.
That's nice. She's on a Wi-Fi extender where she's at. So,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I was looking at the projects right now, looking at where Miller is. He's at again 13,399, and let me refresh my scorecard here. I'm keeping it right here in front of me, so I can keep up with the two. We actually have we're really close, $1,400 away from bypassing Miller, so that's very close. But also with the Starling bypass as well, we're talking $715. So
yep, 1404 for Miller. Are you back, Shay?
That's awesome.
Supposedly,
Are you back?
I don't.
Supposedly.
Oh.
No. You know what I always love about the.
I apologize in advance. Verizon Fios hates me.
I can't run Streamlabs. I have to run StreamYard like this. I have to, because otherwise, it's like at 240K. So I understand it.
I'm trying to figure out what Kai is signing right now because Shay is being unhelpful.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She just, like I say, she just keeps freezing up.
Yeah.
I don't, I was looking through, I was telling Kyle, I was figuring out where he ranks in the list of top most funded comic books. Let me refresh on this. Let's see. He's in list number 3, 4. It'll take me 1 second.
Yep. Since I was in almost your entire chat earlier, I told him about being number 15. Yeah,
I think that's exciting. I think that's really exciting. I mean, he's already in the top. I mean, imagine that. We're talking about the Comicsgate period owns we own all but 3 slots out of the top 17. And we're putting, when I look at the professionals there too, again, some people may argue about the label these days, but when I look at the talent there, it's amazing, to be honest. I mean, we've got Van Sciver, which people know. We had Doug, which is again very known talent. And new talents as well. The people working with Richard, not just Richard, but the people working with Richard. He brought in his own crew. But it's interesting. We see Malin's kind of he's not a brand new talent by any means, but at the same time, he's an up and comer, and he had the same experience that Kyle's having right now.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't follow Coach from the beginning, I started out with Zach, and then went to EVS, and then kind of just stayed with EVS, especially after the whole Zach rebranding thing. Because he kind of, to be honest, he kind of tamed himself quite a bit once the whole Wade stuff started. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Malin have a bit of a YouTube presence before he started doing his stuff?
Not really. I mean, he had a very, very small YouTube presence. I mean, he started putting together something, but I mean, nothing really. What happened was, there was a bit of controversy. Actually, I saw a EVS post about it earlier. He invited specific people on, to argue their side of things. Back when I think a lot of us were naive. I think I was very naive about it too in 2018. We thought instead of rebranding and changing industry, going out and marketing our own stuff, we thought, hey, maybe we can talk some sense into these people and they'll act right.
Right, I
And
remember.
yeah, Malin actually, his problem, I remember very well when his problem started, because he said that anybody can come out here and talk to us. And when he started doing that, you know, he invited the wrong people on, all of us. We were you know, we were buying comics. How dare us?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, he didn't he's done a lot with a small present there, but it's like that. It's, you know, talent speaks for itself. It's just like with Kyle, you can get around he has some web presence, but he's, you know, he's just now building up a web presence. His talent pretty much is when I saw his work before and after, like with Van Sciver. Interestingly enough, I didn't realize how much detail sometimes is in a picture until, you know, I would see the before and afters, when I would see Kyle get a hold of it.
Right, and he really brings that out. I mean, it's just really, Ethan is so good about the depth of his pictures and the detail, and it's really amazing. I mean, him and Joe Ball are two of the most just detailed artists I've ever seen. But once Kyle gets a hold of that and colors it, just the depth that he brings out of that picture, it's inspiring. It makes me want to buy every comic he's ever touched.
Yeah, I'm speaking of Joe Ball. I hope I would like to see his career take off as well.
Yeah.
You know, just to throw that in there too. Yeah, we're at like 112, 145. So we actually bypassed 112,000. That's great. You know, I'm keeping it like a little bit of yeah, I'm trying to keep up with where the comic book is too. I keep refreshing on myself. You know, I'm not actually looking at the screen sometimes. So if anything comes up and I need to note something, I'm just, like I said, let me look at the project and see where you have it. Do you have the project? Yeah, there we go. You want to talk about the project for a minute and introduce it if people don't know it?
Let's give Shay 45 seconds.
Okay.
Because she's been with it from the beginning and I don't want to steal her thunder.
Okay.
But yeah, she says in the chat that she's rebooting right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when people are talking about this too, just remember also that you're not talking about, you know, it may say in the middle here, when you read the first two sentences, it may say 48 pages, but at $50,000 stretch goal, it ballooned up to 90 pages. So you're getting a 90-page book in this.
Exactly. Yeah, we talked about that in your chat earlier. Yeah, because it started out at 40, and then I believe it went to 60, and then it went to 90. So yes,
that's a beast of a book, man. That's just,
it really is. She's all orange right now. She's like a tomato.
Sorry, I'm working on it. I promise.
And kind of keeps blowing you up to the entire screen. I thought it was your hand.
Oh,
there you are. You're back.
Yay!
It's the
this
joy
is
of
horrendous. I'm so sorry, guys. Verizon Fios is shit.
Hey, well, that's why you need multiple hosts. So when you freeze up like other people, just ramble inanely.
It's bad enough that I actually enabled hotspot on my phone just in case it tries to drop again. So I've got a backup.
So comment from the chat. EJ, I lost it. Yeah, she's orange because she's got the juice.
I'm so very disturbed by that. It's okay. I love
$490 and then $490 away from passing again. I think I'm very much about passing Jim Starlin there. Again, that's a huge name. You know, when I think about names out there, the guy right now in theaters, you know, we just had a Thanos movie that, I mean, look at the amount of money it made. So this guy has that kind of credit and hype behind him. And like I said, we can bypass that. These messages we send, and you know, it's a message now. I honestly, I used to at one time we said, hey, I hope the mainstream hears it. I hope they hear it, but I don't care if they change anymore. You know, I just want to keep pumping out products that showcase, you know, we can do great ones.
The thing is, at this point, we're leaps and bounds past what a lot of what they do is. And so it's kind of like, you know, you change, don't change, whatever. We got our section. Like, we don't need you.
If you look at their failure versus the success, I was looking at, you know, I love looking at IDW. It's one of my favorite things to look at. And they were almost 2 decades of success, but they decided to turn away from consumers while we fully embrace them. And they, you know, in 2 years, I mean, they lost 700,000 one year. They lost 36 million the next, and right now they're on the way. They're almost to 9.3 million this year, and that's only in 9 months. So you're talking 1 million a month, and
I'm double.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, meanwhile, if you look at like the earning potential, it just says if you forget your consumer will forget you. You know, they'll move on to something else.
No, absolutely. And it was actually something that we were kind of talking about when I was doing this con earlier today. I was trying to explain to people who've never seen Squirrel Girl before the difference between like classic Squirrel Girl and what she is now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that Tonks actually did way back when they very first changed her, and he was like, screw that, that's not what she's supposed to look like. And he's kind of my touch point for all things comics. He's the reason that I got into them.
As the person who is remaining objective, I remember the fact that you need to say Tonks your husband.
Tonks my husband, in case you didn't know.
Who is an artist and colorist.
I am Essie Tonks, who is an artist, a colorist, a writer, and his website is zombiepudding.com. But regardless, so he's the reason that I got into comics, and he was trying to explain to me Squirrel Girl, which is a very interesting character to try to explain to somebody who's never read comics before. I didn't start reading until I was probably in my mid-20s, and he was kind of explaining it as she's a little bit of the comic relief. And then when I went and Googled her and I saw what has become of her, I was like, this is really terrible. And he goes, that's not what she's supposed to look like. And he's like, this is what she is historically, and starts showing me like much better pictures of what Squirrel Girl was. And he ended up drawing that. But the big thing is that so many of the big two, so many of the books that they put out have become so political and have become so about pushing a specific agenda or a specific thought. They've lost the fun. Ooh. and they've lost the intrigue. It's just,
and they've lost the quality.
Exactly. The quality has dropped so bad.
I was pulling out old comic books. You know, I pulled out Miss Marvel #1, you know, 1976 or whatever. And I was looking at it versus, you know, what we get now, you know, because I saw this list where people were trying to take shots at us. And they said, you know, we love the MCU versus you folks. You hate representation. And they named Black Panther and Miss Marvel. And I thought, you know, that's really funny because I'm sure you don't recognize Miss Marvel when it was good, you know. And,
right.
I don't know. It's the same thing. But again, they're focused away from comic quality. They want to produce movies and TV shows. That's where their money's at. And that, I think that's opened up a lot of opportunity. It's depressing in a way. I would really like to have great X-Men books and everything else, but you know, hey, let's build up a new pantheon of heroes. You know, ones that are owned by creators and invested. You know, if Kyle's invested in his characters there, if he's invested in, you know, they are his success, then he's going to be making good books.
Well, and I think that one thing that the big two are really lacking is that passion. Like, they've gotten so into having diversity hires and making sure that nobody can like point a finger at them and say, oh, well, you're bigoted or you're a misogynist or whatever, that they hire people that don't have passion. And they hire people that don't respect what the characters are supposed to be, what the story was supposed to be. And the difference is when you start looking at things like the creators that we have in Comicsgate, or like you start looking at Kyle, all of his characters that he creates have so much purpose and are so deliberately designed with very specific kinds of I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the stream and saying that he's being a jackass. I love him. Like he makes sure that they are exactly what it is that he wants them to be. And, you know, people who are going to try and naysay or whatever, like, fuck them. Who cares? Let's make sure that we bring what's in, what kind of brings everybody into comics and what everybody can relate to, because what is being pushed with this political correctness and with a lot of the ridiculousness of the big two being like, you know, this is a platform for me to make sure that everybody understands this one specific thing, or like nobody
Or
gives
how
a
woke
fuck.
I am.
Hey, let's just say too,
one cares.
the project has pulled within $1,000 of Miller. I don't know. I needed to pass Mike so I could laugh at him a little bit.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
I love giving these guys. I really like giving John Malin a hard time, but I really like giving Mike Miller a hard time. So if you want to give Mike Miller a hard time, man, we're almost there.
I mean, I give everyone a hard time.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it because, you know, it's fun. That's also what this needs. It needs a kind of jovial, kind of fun sense to it. The competition is healthy, and we're not talking about like if somebody bypasses me, hey, I'm happy to be here, you know. And I think a lot of people feel like that, you know. And it's fun in the sense that you can goof off. You can if we're competing with the outside, yeah, I want to beat them. The other people, hey, it's just fucking around. Who cares?
Right.
But,
right. And I think having that healthy competition is part of what makes Comic Tea so much fun, is the fact that, like, it's kind of like when you're playing a sport or something, you see your friend that you play with maybe on Mondays, but on Wednesdays they're your rival, and you're like, yeah, no, screw you, dude. I hope that you totally lose. And then Monday you're like, bro, same team, let's make this work, kind of thing. And that's really kind of what a lot of this, the way that Comics Tea goes and the way that these creators are. It's good-natured ribbing. It's getting away from this like super woke, super sensitive over every little tiny thing mentality, and it's a lot more fun, I think.
Well, they also, we were talking about the reason you bring those people in. It's because they're cheap. They work cheap. It's
right.
Like Kyle's book is a damn good bargain. When you look at the pages anyway. Yes. But these people, when you look at the reviews for Marvel, they're awful. They don't fix problems. They work without modded technology. And you look at all of that, and the only people that would put up with it are not even the huge fans that become creators. No, it's people with an agenda. Nobody wants to buy that shit, so let's buy something worth buying.
Right, exactly. Well, and the thing that I think is so funny is they keep pushing so hard. They keep pushing.
I'll be back in a second. I've got a yelling kid. I'm not sure if you hear that. So I'll be right back.
No problem. So the thing that I was about to say is it's super frustrating to see how hard they push these agendas, and they keep pushing. Like anytime somebody says something about like, hey, let's just make comics fun, like who cares? They push it so much harder, and it's like you're not even paying attention. You're not even listening to what your audience base wants, and it turns into screw the audience, because they obviously don't know any better. Exactly. And let me tell you what it is that you want, because you obviously are too stupid to know.
Exactly.
And then they wonder why nobody wants to buy.
And that's why they're failing. That's why their sales are dropping and indie comics are rising.
Exactly, because indie creators actually care. Indie creators are about what the customer wants, about the stories that they want to tell. They have the passion, they have the drive, they have everything that the big two have lost.
So I wanted to show this real quick. This is backer kit that a lot of campaign people use to see how their campaign is doing. And I just wanted to show you guys really quickly how it can be very inaccurate. So he is trending towards $102,000. $102,000, really? $102,000. And
trending to 102.
His max trend is 111. You see that?
Yes.
111,781.
He's sitting at 112.
100. Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. So that the chat can see. That's not exactly a great indicator of how well your comic really can do. And even if that says that your campaign is going to suck, don't give up hope, because it's because of fans and customers like you guys that make these things succeed despite the predictions.
Absolutely. Sorry, I have to fill in Kyle.
That's fine.
I need Terry in here so I'm not the only one with the super loud.
You want me to fill them in and you can go back to drinking your wine, dear?
I probably should slow down on the wine. Just throwing that out there. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Kyle and I have decided that we will be drinking Capriccio because we're both cheap bastards. I wish I could pour you more, babe. Sorry. But yeah, so it's Capriccio Sangria. It's actually pretty good. So if you haven't tried it, by all means, give it a shot.
And actually what they're drinking is grape juice, since the YouTube terms of service indicate that you cannot drink alcohol.
I am not drinking. I am having delicious, very much grape juice.
They are drinking grape juice, and that is all that they are drinking.
It's wonderful.
They were kidding.
I was absolutely joking. It's an empty bottle.
Man, little ones get loud. It's like, dang.
Oh, Tug, perfect time. Thank you for saving me.
Yeah. Hey, we're at 112,585 now. Man, this is moving along pretty good. You know?
Right, and I was just highlighting the fact that Backer Kid is full of poop, because it predicted that the highest he could go, based on yesterday, since it only updates once a day, was 111, was the high range of this tracking.
Well, you know, I figured when he got out there, I don't know, it predicted my project would not, you know, make that much in the last day. And it, you know, that last day, as long as you get out there and you show people what they're actually getting, you know, it's I think people, I don't know, there's just something exciting about getting in there and seeing where things are and, you know, seeing a finish line. I love the fact that there wasn't just a finish line to pass. And again, John Malin, you know, that was how people have, I appreciate, I'm sure Kyle and everyone else definitely appreciates the support there too. I mean, people have in the last couple of hours put in over, well, $7,000, I believe. So, you know, I think it maybe can get at least 10 or more tonight if people keep going.
Oh, absolutely. I don't see why it couldn't. To answer the question where did it just go? It was from EJ Morgs, Kyle Ritter, will there be a fan art section of the book? So Kyle is saying that there's a possibility, but he's not fully certain yet. So stay tuned. I'm pretty sure that when it's in demand and he starts actually finishing out all the pages and everything, he'll see if there's room for him to fit in some fan art. But I do know from talking to him that Kyle really, really loves seeing all these people take his characters and his baby, essentially, and bringing it to life and making it something.
God, where are you going to put it in that monster book?
Oh my gosh. The amount that I wanted to smack him when he went from 60 to 90. I was like, what are you doing to us? There's so much more to do now.
So Tug, as you're probably aware, he has to go in groups of 4 pages. So he has 2 pages to play with at this point, unless he just fills them, because he was expecting 90 and he's going to have to do 92.
I just kept thinking, you know, when I saw that, I was like, that's a typo. You know, like 90 pages. Holy crap.
It's okay. He's going to have a really strong-willed PM his next go. I wonder who that could potentially be.
He just bypassed Jim Starlin. So he is literally, he just moved up another rank. So that's awesome, you know. Congratulations to him. Yeah, he is now at 112,735, and yeah, Mike Miller's at 113,399. So I mean, it's closing in. Bye, Mike. Oh man, poor Mike.
I just tried to spell Jim Starling, and he's like, "Who the hell are you talking about?"
That's funny.
It's, you know what? I've been really practicing, and I will tell you right now, finger spelling, which is something that happens quite often in sign language, is so very difficult, especially if you're like I am right now, a little lightheaded because I wouldn't be anything else because I'm drinking grape juice.
Miller is and looking impressed once I explained who that was.
Miller is 64 away, by the way. He's we're closing that gap fast. Yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed. Like, I was the reason I bring up Starland because when I noticed I was like in 10 grand of the gap between that guy, I thought, holy crap, that's insane, for myself. But to see him pass it, and again, I think deservedly so. I think this project deserved to be a 200K project. Honestly, I thought, but that original project, just like anybody's, it's, the way these projects have gone. If you look at, in mics, if you look at mail-ins, the way that they come together to raise money, even if you look at DNC's, his first project was big because people tried to take it down and it got so much notice. But then his second project, it set a more realistic boundary of about 100 plus. And then after that, he doubled it with his next project. So that's been the way it's going. So I imagine this project, it'll be cool to see. It's already doing, good, but it'll be amazing to see this one. And when people get it in their hands, my God,
Absolutely. Sorry.
Tug, you're talking and they're comparing empty bottles.
This is how our life goes.
I'm bad about not looking at where we're at. I actually read the chat a lot. I said in the I don't know if that's good or not. When I'm on panels, you can actually tell if I'm bored because I'll go kind of quiet on a panel. If there's like 6 or 7 people, I'll stop talking and go play in the chat. I don't know if that's good, but I always read the chat.
Right. Well, so here's the fun thing for me is I'm trying to learn to not only read the chat because I actually have to look at Kyle when he decides that he's going to sign to me. And the amount of times, so I got pulled into Ethan Van Sciver's his whole stream when they pulled Kyle on, and I was on my way home from my second job and they were like, hey, Kyle needs you, do you got time? And I was like, let me find a CVS to park in, it'll be fine. And like my camera's all balanced on my steering wheel, it was horrible. And then they were like, okay, so ask him. And then they asked like a super complicated question and I just looked at him and I was like, talk. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then as I started plugging him, I realized I stopped watching his screen and he was like waving his hand trying to get me to look at him so he could ask me a question. And I felt so bad. I was like, the whole purpose I'm here, and instead I'm just gushing over how much I love StarBlades and not even paying attention to the person I'm supposed to be like translating for.
It's a learning curve.
It's such a learning curve. It's difficult.
I really, I don't, like I said, I do not promote many books anymore. I got to the point I used to open promote, and then I thought, I'm not really excited about all this stuff. So, that I'm telling people, if I like something, I'm going to buy it, and I suggest you buy it too. But that means that I'm openly endorsing the creator of it and everything else. I think that's, different. I kind of like that better in a way. I know some people just make a platform. Anybody can go on, and that's cool too. That's their thing. But for me, like I said, you'll probably have 2 really special projects, in my opinion, a month. Really, at least. There's probably other ones, but for myself, there are 2 projects that usually speak to me in a month. And hey, that's good if I can highlight 2. But this one's, a project that, like I said, I have not gone full hype for something in 11 months maybe. So
jeez.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I burned out on comics. I really, after a little while, I questioned my enjoyment of indie comics. I pulled away from that stuff, and it takes a minute to reset. It's easy. You can have 20 great experiences, but one bad experience, and that bad experience, of course, it overwhelms everything else. And you have to have a really good thing to sometimes snap out of it. So like I said, and it's not necessarily just the project. I like the project, but everything that I've seen with Kyle, I hear a lot of background chatter about him, and everything has been positive. You know, it's there is no negative out there that I've heard. So
no, I mean, he's got the nicknames the nicest guy in CG, and the thing is he is like I was saying before, he's a very genuine person. And I've never, even when somebody has completely screwed him over, and like I've seen it happen where people have just taken advantage and screwed him over, he still is just like, well, I'm just not going to talk to them. And I'm like, that's your solution, me? I'm like, let me go to their house and set everything on fire. And he's like, meh, I just won't talk to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so much a better person than I could ever be.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I try. I tell people I'm very fallible in this be a professional thing. I may be better than some, but I still lose my temper, and I'll yell at people, or I'll blow up on somebody every now and then. But again, I don't see Kyle out there shit posting, attacking people. He has fun. He
does. The only thing that I ever see Kyle post is anything that he finds that's uplifting or joking, and he's really big on bringing people up. He doesn't bring people back down. If somebody upsets him or something bad happens, he works on other things.
He's over 13,000 now, by the way.
Is he? I just refreshed too. I finally had time to say something in the chat, and I was commemorating your mailbox.
Coming for you, Mike Miller.
Did you refreshed on the screen, right, Si?
I just did.
1350. Man.
He was yelling for us to refresh. As much as a deaf person can yell.
You were talking about my mailbox.
Yes.
Woe is mailbox. Whoa. It is a that stuff though. I never realized.
He's dabbing. Oh my God.
I need him to stop that.
Is, though. I never realized the impact or the way that these people would react until I thought I dealt with crazies until I launched a comic. Then I really dealt with crazies. Yeah.
All right. I have to stop. Oh my gosh, he's killing me. So I have to explain to this. This is being like really, really excitable. Calm down. Take a breath. Oh. And that's his favorite thing to say to me. Every freaking time.
And
that's what he says to me every day.
Look at him now.
I'm terrible at sign language. I would have thought that meant like, I'm glad I wasn't showing my camera because I thought you were telling me to jiggle my boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
That helps show your comics, Kyle.
Kyle's telling Shay to wave her boobs around for us. Get some sales. It's slowing down a little.
Oh, my boobs aren't going to get him sales. His art does that.
Oh, my God. Is he monetized yet? I'm going to send a super chat for boobs.
Super chat for boobs.
Hold on, wait.
Actually, that's a good statement. Has he ever tried setting up Streamlabs? He can take donations through Streamlabs. I know he's StreamYard.
I told him a little secret though for how to get monetized at the amount of subs that he has, which I'm not going to say live.
Be a good boy. That's what he needs to do. Be a good boy all the time.
Stop having Cy and Shay on together.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It involves
jiggling people's boobies. Come on, man.
It involves his channel category and how YouTube wants to lure people of a certain category from other platforms. So they've lowered the monetization requirements for that category of channel.
By the way, we are $349 off of Mike Miller, so we need $350 to bypass Mike Miller, and then we can, I'll go over live and stream rate him just to tell, I'll be like, you suck. No, I better not. With all the craziness lately, I won't do that. But somebody else could go tell him, nicely, be like, ha, you got past, sucker. That's what.
I did want to mention this to you, and I'm not sure if I did in the DM to you, either before or after your stream earlier today, but just from that period of time that you were pushing StarBlades. I don't know if you know this, but on Drawn and Quartered, they had the StarBlades edition of Drawn and Quartered, and Kyle was in that chat for it for that entire 2 hours and 40 something minutes. he made less money than in the 45 minutes that you were pushing his book today. So I really want to thank you on behalf of Kyle and the rest of us.
Dude, Kyle's a good dude. I'm telling you, Kyle, he hit me up, and I don't show me. I wish I could show people messages. I explained to him what I was doing with my book. This was before, like I wanted to hit him up and see what, I could even get the idea of him doing something, and I explained it, and he was enthusiastic about, hey, I'm putting something together for my daughter. And he ended the conversation, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for you, and I'll do that for your daughter. And I was like, man, that's awesome. I don't know. It struck a chord with me. I was like, man, that's a decent dude. And we need those. I remember being a kid, and the people who created superheroes were fucking superheroes, and they need to be that again. They need to be at least decent human beings, people we can look up to,
inspiring.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And we don't need to go, like, one of the things that's a huge pet peeve of mine is, like, even like with the new Joker movie, every character doesn't need to be humanized to such an extent that it's like, oh, but the Joker and all of the poor things that he went through. Like, no, the Joker's fucking insane. He is an insane human being. We do not need to know about, like, this whole poor past story, and that's what makes it okay that he's insane. Like, no, he's criminally insane. There's no redeeming feature there. We don't need to delve into it. Sometimes villains are villains, and sometimes heroes just need to be heroes. And I feel like we get away from that so much because they want to show heroes as flawed, and they want to show that everybody has something, and sometimes you just need good people.
Yeah, they don't show them, really expanding on that. They don't show them as flawed. They show them as weak. And, I always remember, the encountering adversity and striving past. I mean, that was we had so many lessons like that, going through comics. I mean, I grew up on that. These people nowadays, they want to be woke, and they want to speak with a bludgeon to tell me how to be a good person. Well, I don't need that. I need lessons that my child at 5 years old, and then later on at 8 or 10 can pick up and understand. They should be entertained, but at the end of the day, they need to understand that everybody, you can strive and overcome, and also everybody's human. These were powerful messages.
Absolutely. And it's such a shame what a lot of the SJW mentality and the, like, political correctness and, trying to make sure that, we got to make sure that everybody is equally represented. It's like, I don't think you realize, if you read comics, people have been equally represented for a very, very long time. It's just certain comic book characters weren't as mainstream as others, and people who aren't in the industry, who are the ones virtue signaling and then claiming that everyone else is doing it, they're not clued in because they're not actual fans, but they're the ones that are making the decisions.
We are at 13-20, by the way. Thank you, Saggy Bones.
Refreshed.
Thank you, Saggy Bones, for just bought a copy at number 2007 there. That's all.
You guys are making it impossible to keep up with it. Please
oh no,
continue.
man! First world problem.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so hard to keep up with. I love it.
It'll be hard to keep up with? Mike Miller when we pass him. Oh man, we're almost there. Poor Mikey. Mikey don't like it. No, we need probably $200 really $200 to pass him. So let's just call it $200. I know that's
that's a one of everything. All we need is somebody to do I want one of everything, and we're good.
So what, 113,399, and we're at $179.
So there we go. We need one person who wants one of every single thing, which, by the way, is the most killer freaking deal because of everything that you're getting with it.
Will the $200 tier be signed? Someone asked.
So Shay, if you want to answer this, that's fine. But I've gotten some answer. So you go.
You go ahead. I defer to you.
Oh my God. So Kyle says yes. That's all he's saying. Yes.
So the that specific tier has a bunch of books that are coming with it, and at least one of them will be signed, yes. So if you want to have all of the collector's edition kinds and everything that's nice and
Refresh
pristine.
again, by the way, you know.
So just to be clear, this is the answer that I have gotten from Kyle, is that the one of everything includes the version of the main cover that is signed.
Yes, it does. It does. So you'll get the regular as well as a signed copy.
50 more bucks, one more book.
Oh my god!
It's the dirt.
I need somebody to just buy a signature one. Come on. Just one person. Just make my day. Let me pound the rest of my grape juice.
It sounded like you said, "Let me pound the rest of my grief juice."
I'm sorry. Let me enunciate for you. My grape juice.
Jamie Ramirez Art said I just got one of everything, so that's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yes, fantastic.
If you just got one of everything, then that would do it.
113,350. What do we need to pass?
We need there's another one that hasn't updated. There's another backer. It hasn't updated the number yet. So it's more than likely passed. We need $50 on here. So it's more than likely passed. You just got to give it a minute to catch up.
113,695. Boom!
Ooh.
Yes!
Wow. And I just refreshed it twice.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations to Kyle, seriously.
Kyle.
That's good. It's very good. It's like I said, he deserves to be in this pantheon of pros. That, I mean, there are some good ones up there, and
absolutely.
Not many of most of them are niche. They're specific. They have a very high caliber talent, but they do one thing. Like he's out there doing quite a bit.
He is.
So
he is.
Kyle says he's signing everything on the 100. Oh, I'm sorry, on the $200 and the $1,000 tier. He's signing everything.
Ooh,
awesome,
special.
So
somebody go say hi to Mike. Don't be rude about it though. Just be like, hey, P.S. Mike, you just got passed. Have a good auction.
So Shay, that last of my bourbon that I was saving for a rainy day. Here it goes. I'm gonna mute so you guys don't have to hear me drink cheap bourbon and die.
You can actually refresh again. There's more.
Oh my gosh! It just keeps going.
That's great.
It's so good.
I mean, tonight it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious how high it can go.
Same.
Yeah, and it's rolling in. I want to see minimum. Minimum. I was thinking to myself, if it passed 115, that it would have been a good night. That's actually what I was thinking earlier. If it did that, but it could go well beyond that. But my minimum goal that I wanted to see was 115.
I'm going to be a little bit more kind of out there. I want to see it past 120.
If it passed 120, then it will pass. It'll pass Iron Sights, which would be crazy.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
Come on, we can so do it. We can absolutely pass 120. Not just so Shay's right.
Who's got Cecil's sister's credit card? Where's Cecil? Let's get Cecil on.
Yeah, really. Where's Cecil? Where's Bagel? I mean Cecil. When I haven't. I ran into Bagel Goose, our donut swan, the other day. It was the first time in forever. It weirded me out.
I miss all those. Wasn't there another one?
Yeah, there was Bagel Goose, Donut Swan. Actually, what's funny is in the Ashcan version with our book, we actually have Bagel Goose and Donut Swan. They're fighting. Well, they're fighting over a bagel, so we actually put them in because
like
of
Bagel Boss.
Yeah. So I was like, man, try to. I don't know. I wanted to put in a lot of homage for people that they remembered those times. It's really funny thinking back to that stuff. I think we need to there's a lot of exciting stuff that's still going on. I think if people, this is the kind of stuff right here that we need refocus on. A lot of people see negativity, and some of that's my fault too. I pointed, like yesterday, I made statements like, this thing is a trash fire. It's because I would see, again, the one negative thing, and, it can outdo 10 positive things. But I mean, stuff like this is the perfect point to point at, Comicsgate is very much alive, very much still kicking, and
absolutely
still doing positives.
So Kyle wants to see a Chromebook.
Hey, refresh,
meltdown.
by the way.
I will. He wants to see my Chromebook meltdown by playing this video. So
let's
you guys
do
will get
it
without sound.
Let's ruin Sai's Chromebook because she really needs to not have a Chromebook.
I don't see anyone buying me a computer. All right, here you go. I'm going to mute.
I'll mute it out there.
Ready to go.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I knew when it started moving there. Awesome. It's our platforms are very powerful items too. If we use them, we use them to mock the right people that need to be mocked, but also back the people that need to be backed. I think we could do Comicsgate. Like I said, is just getting started.
It really is. It really, really is. And I mean, the thing is if we have stuff like this within Comicsgate, I feel like the big two really needs to be worried.
DJD said, "You're exciting, Tug, like a turtle on coke."
I love it.
That would yeah, that'd be really exciting there. Woo!
I feel like a turtle on coke is
here's a sad story. I'll tell you a very sad story. So one time I had a water dragon, and it would run around its cage. Well, I gave it to these people to watch, while I went on holiday. And apparently they had a video, they had a little room where they would record, and apparently they had been getting high in there. And the water dragon, it got really high and would get excited. And it ran around, it got so excited it was bouncing around the cage and went flying out of the cage and right into a fan. So that was really bizarre. So yeah, that's what your turtle on coke reminded me of. I was like, well, that was interesting. He reacted to getting high that way.
That is the most horrific story.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is going. They were like, well, you better just see the video. I was like, what do you mean? They showed it to me. They were like, you won't believe this. So they were showing. He's like, oh look, it's jumping around. That's oh shit.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
Oh, that's crazy.
Mike says, congratulations, Kyle.
Oh,
he probably said it with that kind of enthusiasm. Congratulations. No, I'm just playing.
Right.
Exactly. I see it completely deadpan. Like, super congratulations.
Yeah, like all tensed up with a box cutter in his hand.
Oh my gosh, why'd you take it so far?
It's kind of a thing.
It doesn't have to be a cutter, shit.
No. He told the story a few months ago on his channel about how someone dared him to cut him because he was holding a box cutter in his hand. So he did, and so it's kind of a meme right now. But
okay. I'm not. You know what? That's a thread I'm not going to pull.
Yeah. He will cut you.
Oh my goodness.
We're getting stretch goals soon. Somebody asked about Red Rooster. Red Rooster actually almost made it almost made 194,000. I mean,
oh wow.
Yeah. Again, I think that this project, Kyle is working on his his online presence, which is awesome. Once he gets that rolling out there, I think again, this project will show people who he is for real. Cyberfrog, unfairly, luckily in Comicsgate, I think it's helped a bit more with colorists. I've appreciated the colorists more when I saw like the Betty Brightweiser, and I saw them talking about method and whatnot, and then looking at the detailing, like I say, on Cyberfrog, but with him bringing everything there, I think a lot of people weren't aware that Kyle was doing everything. I think it caught people off guard so much.
Oh, it absolutely did. And so here's the even funnier thing. the amount of people that I know that were like, Kyle, I'm a letterer. Let me letter. Kyle, I do flats. Let me flat. I can do inks. Let me ink. And he was like, no, nobody can do anything. He's like, this book is my baby. Nobody has anything to do with it. And we're talking like, I letter. And I was like, Kyle, there's no way you can do all of this. Let me help you letter. You don't even have to pay me. Let me help you. And he was like, no, it's my baby. I was like, all right, dude. All right, I'm going to back off. And now he's sitting here with everything left to do. And he's like, it's still my baby. And I'm still doing all of it. But maybe for book 2, I'll have someone help me. I was like, oh, thank goodness it finally dawned on you.
It's a daunting task. But yeah, I mean, that initial foot forward, I mean, I don't blame him. I wanted control over every aspect of what, I am not nobody wanted my stick figure art. If I had all that talent there, like I would have not given anyone any control over anything.
Right. No, and I completely understand. Like I understand if you are capable of doing everything, especially because so my husband, S.E. Tonks, for the book that he's going to be working on, he is the artist, like the line, the color, he's everything except for letters because he hates lettering with a passion. I mean, he has OCD, so giving somebody with OCD something like lettering where you have to be really specific about where you put stuff, the book would never get done if we let him do it. And so instead of him doing that, he's like, I guess you can letter for me. I was like, oh, gee, thank you. Like the one thing I get to do. But the fact that he can do everything else means that he is going to do everything else. He's going to do absolutely every possible thing he can. And, Kyle's in a similar situation. Kyle can do literally everything and he wants to do everything. And it's one of those, not only are costs less, but the quality and exactly what you want to have put out and the story that you want to tell, you don't have to compromise with anybody else. You get to tell exactly what you want to tell. You get to put out the quality that is exactly with the quality that you want to put out because you are literally the only one working on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the, that level of control. I mean, this is his showcase too.
It is.
It really is. And I don't know. I'm happy. Like I said, I'm very happy but I got hit up just to tell people. I got hit up. I thought I was supposed to have a surgery done today, and
yes,
they didn't show. So I get prepped and everything else. I mean, I'm literally there. I get prepped, and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, the time just went by. What the fuck is going on? And they're like, oh yeah, the specialist. He's not here. He called. He had. I was like, what the. So
the guy who has to actually do the surgery,
has to do a procedure.
What the fuck he's doing? He's like,
so I was like, son of a bitch. So then I got home. I wasn't planning on doing anything, but I thought, oh hell yeah, so I can talk about Kyle's project, for a minute, and I was glad in that, at least it brought up something positive in an otherwise ridiculous day.
Right. The day turned out much better than you wanted it to because you didn't have surgery and you got to hang out and see a comic.
Well, and for the way I've set up like what I do on my channel, I don't have people on that.
If you're watching
show.
Yeah. I'll read it. I have no shame. DJD show in the chat says Tug shaved his balls.
Yeah, that would have been a procedure. There we go. I take the specialist.
Tug, I've seen how tall you are. I have no doubt that they would have had to call in some professional landscapers.
Look at Kyle.
You're like 17 feet tall. Kyle.
17 feet. That's why I wear the mask in case it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Will you please type to him that Tug was supposed to have surgery today because Kyle's wondering why Tug would have shaved his balls.
That's got to be really random.
I literally did before that chat came up. I said,
he's probably wondering two things. Like, number one, why did Tug shave his balls? And why did that somehow, while that went in, why did we make more money just then?
You see him, Kyle's like, my bad.
No, I literally said that. I said Tug is telling us how and why he didn't have surgery today. And
Oh
he
my
like
God.
completely skipped over that. So I'm glad that he's appreciating what I'm doing right now.
He absolutely is, but the thing is, because it came across the screen the way it did, he was like,
Tug's balls
why
came
did Tug
across the
shave his
screen.
balls?
Oh my God, 114, 130.
It was a stretch goal. It was a stretch goal. Here, I need to type that. It was a
Old man
stretch goal.
balls stretch goal.
Oh, Kyle. Like Doug, I'm putting it in the chat. Like Doug shaving, or no, I'm sorry, like Doug dyeing his hair. He's so bad. Oh yeah, Doug dyed his hair an SJW color. Well, I shaved my. What?
Oh my God. Wait, why would you shave your balls for Kyle's stretch goal?
Hey, that's it. That's the mystery of it all.
That's the team player right there. We
Oh my
appreciate you,
God.
Doug.
That's dedication.
You really are here for other people.
Yeah, fucking hey, that would be. Oh Lord,
Fox Bear says it's the smooth grape stretch goal.
smooth grape.
Saggy Balls says at Kyle Ritter he shaved his balls for the culture.
That's a real culture warrior right there, man.
Oh my
Put it
God.
all on the line.
I think I'm finally too tipsy. I'm too lightheaded.
Yeah,
because that was way funnier than it should have
Hey,
been.
we've passed 114 by the way, so that's all.
Yep.
Yay.
114, 130 is what I got on the screen right now. Shave for StarBlades.
Shave for StarBlades. Shit.
Hashtag shave for StarBlades.
Hey, congratulations, by the way, Alpha Nimba for being backer number 2020.
Kyle is very confused as to why there's a hashtag shave for StarBlades. He was like,
Hey.
why?
If you're when your screen name is shortened to a sex toy, I mean everything else, who cares what you talk about anymore? I remember when we were doing Ravage and everything else, and people figured out, they finally figured out that umbrella guy shortens to Tug, so people started talking about Tug plugs. Get a Tug plug for your channel. It was like, oh, that sounds frisky.
Oh my gosh. I need you to take the thing down so I can sign to him, because it's currently I'm Kyle's profile picture.
There we go.
Sign! He put you up, so I still can't.
There you go. Read that.
Do I have to save my what for StarBlades?
Look at
No.
Kyle.
You have to. You're gonna have to produce a specific type of razor. You're gonna call it the StarBlade.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking at the project. Yeah, I'm refreshing periodically.
I apologize profusely in advance for my lack of ASL skills and also my impairment of ASL skills at the moment. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm actually really lightheaded because I laughed far too much about all of the shaving.
I've been really impressed, though, seriously, with the projects lately. I've seen a lot of first-time projects hitting their goals. There's quite a few. I saw somebody putting up, there's a stat of Comicscape projects, people that actually come out and talk about stuff under that. It was something like a 90, almost 90% number. Good Lord, I didn't realize that that many projects were getting funded. I think that's that's good. Like I said, we can go out. All these weirdos out there. They love they loved picking out the fact that, well, if you look past this project or that project, then you don't actually have any of these big projects. That's why I like seeing people like Kyle. Because again, you're talking about somebody that who's Kyle Ritter? People will know now, but people knew after he was coloring, but people didn't know before.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is there's so much hidden talent within Comicsgate, and there's so many people that are way more talented than anyone would ever have thought.
Right.
And they're starting to kind of come out of the woodworks. They're starting to like get on bigger projects or get on where they get to really showcase what they can do. And just the quality and the caliber that these people are, it's so interesting. I want to smack Kyle for what he's
funding so many different types of projects. Like if you look at the big projects, you know, when I was putting out a project, people told me, don't put out a kid's book, don't. And I thought, why? You know, one of the biggest ones I would say is a kid's book. And then you have like Cyberfrog, which is, you know, an action kind of an oddity book. You know, it's straight out the 90s in its own way. And
it's funny because there's another frog book called Oddity that's out right now.
Yeah, you know, I actually like the creators with Oddity too. Just throw them in there too. I really like that Door Kickers. I really like those guys. I like their project as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm throwing people in there, I might as well throw them in there too. Because I don't know. Like I said, we funded a lot. There's not. I mean, the 100,000 threshold. Again, if you look at that on Indiegogo, like we freaking own that, and it's
we do. We really do. There's not a whole lot. I mean, aside from the fact that, what was it, Sai, you were telling me about the $1 million Indiegogo project that was like a robot that sanitizes your mattress. It's like, I mean, okay, that's actually a really cool thing. But
yeah, and there are various scooters and stuff like that that are on there. That yeah, but I mean, for the most part, it's for the most part,
there's 17. I think there's $1,700,000 ones, and I think 14 of them are indie. With, you know, again, I know people have been arguing over the semantics of what they are these days, but I still call it all Comicsgate until otherwise. You know, they are or were creators with Comicsgate, and you know, 14 out of 17 of them. I think that's impressive. It shows like I said, it shows that this thing it's moving forward because people are hungry for something. It doesn't matter what the fuck you call it. I mean, you have solidarity being shown with a lot of people backing projects because some people do want to send a message. Like I think projects like Kyle's too show that, you know, a lot of people say this is just culture war. Well, no, it's not just culture war. You have a guy here that's got a solid project, and people are backing him. He's not out there talking about, telling other people, hey, you gotta fight the culture war. He's not putting out messages about that on Twitter or anything else. He's actually helping people do stuff. Huh?
Exactly. The only thing that Kyle has ever cared about is making sure that the story of StarBlades gets out.
What?
Right.
You just said
And in the best possible way.
I did not say Elizabeth. You wanna?
Is that Lug?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You want to see the people or time?
La.
Yeah, they're all in here. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetie. Oh my gosh, I love you.
This is me. Anytime you want.
Anytime, yeah. Hey, you don't know their name. They're strangers. Don't you have to ask who they are first?
But that you gonna do this to talk to super channels or whoever's speaking. Even if you're on live stream.
That's true. You can talk to the super
even
chatters.
Even if you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You can talk to the super chatters and other people. I guess we do know them. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. What's her name?
Like, my name is Shay.
Shay? That's
Shay.
a good name.
Hi.
Oh, you got a beautiful name there and everything. Okay,
you can visit me anytime you want, Shay.
Done. So done, Lug. I'm going to visit you. We're going to go hang out.
You can hang out here if you want.
Absolutely.
Want to say hi to the chat?
Just, you don't want to go to my room. It's a nightmare over there.
Oh, you're a nut.
I love her.
Hey, can you say congratulations to Kyle? Look, his project, it made $114,000. Whoa.
I gave her 1,000.
You You're going to give him 1,000 more? Wow. That's
how many money does that make?
That makes 115,000. That's many monies, right?
That's a lot of candy and pink death notes.
Yeah, that's a lot of candy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Any day you want to come.
Done.
Night you want.
Absolutely, Lug. We're gonna hang out. I promise.
You can come tomorrow.
I don't think she can come tomorrow. You gotta go. You gotta go and do stuff tomorrow anyway. Remember?
But
you gotta go to birthday party. You better go get some sleep.
You know what? Lug, let me tell you this, sweetie.
She's going to bed.
She's going to bed. Good. Oh my god.
I'd never teach her your address. She'll walk up to you on a stream and be like, "She can come over, and our address is."
You know, you would learn cool games though. Like she has this awesome game she plays. She's obsessed with the show Death Note. You know, where the Death Note falls out of the sky. If people haven't watched it for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't have heard of it. But if you hadn't for some reason, you know, it's a book that if you write, I'm going to dumb it down. Let's just say it's a book. If you write someone's name in it, they'll die. So she'll have one drop right in front of the Barbie dream house. So we'll play Barbie Death Note dream house.
Oh my gosh, I love your daughter.
Oh, it's awesome. It's like, oh, Ken cut in line for the bathroom. Scribble, scribble.
Oh my gosh. Tug, seriously, if you ever end up anywhere near me, we really gotta hang out because I need to see Lug.
Oh.
She's a
trip. She's a little nut, you know. We were sitting down one day and we were picking out shows. You know, I was tired. She loves shark shows. We passed 47 meters down. You know, we got a little bit in it, and she was like, "Dad, I love it when the sharks eat the people." I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." You know.
So Jaws is on your playlist next time.
My mom heard some of that one day. She was like, "Oh my god!" My wife too. She's like, "You know, you've created a little you."
And you're like, "I'm so proud."
What does that mean? Okay, so I don't know if you know this, Tug, but I've got I have two parrots. So one of them is like he sits in his cage and he's perfectly happy and he'll sing to you as long as you don't get too close to him. The other one demands affection, but then he sits on my shoulder and I'll be watching something like a true crime or something. They'll be like, "And they never found her body," and he will bust up laughing. Like not even like they'll be like, "She was never found." He goes, and I'm like, "Oh,
morbid as hell." That's awesome.
I was like, I can never let him out of his cage when I'm asleep. He's gonna kill me. Like
that is cool though.
Oh no, the best one. So we also have a really stupid dog, and she's actually a genius, but she's like autistic or whatever. So at one point she jumped up and she hit Tonks in the jewels pretty hard, and obviously made him like knock the wind out of him for a couple of seconds.
Wind. We'll call it wind.
We'll call it wind. The bird laughed. So I thought the bird laughed because I'm an asshole and I laughed. But 2 days later, he was like, "Can you believe that Hugin laughed when I got hit in the jewels?" And he laughed again at the fact that Tonks had said the memory. And I was like, "Oh no, this is a sadistic bird that's going to kill us in our sleep, and he needs to always be under lock and key."
I did the dumbest thing just then. I was going to refresh StarBlades and I refreshed the chat window. Oh shit, I just kicked myself off. That's so dumb.
I love it. I was wondering why you dropped below me.
Yeah, I was like, whoops. At least I actually like StreamYards, you know, by the way. I use the paid version because, you know, otherwise I stream in 240 or 360K if I use something else. And I like it. I like it quite a bit. And by the way, people, if you, again, the StarBlades has less than 3 hours left. So, I mean, we were talking about down to crunch time. So if you want to jump in here, see how far this little puppy can push. Yeah. I want to see it break 115 soon. I want to see that.
Okay. I'm going to be right back. I apologize, but
Shay had a little bit too much grape juice and she needs to visit the privy.
I did. That's what this is, by the way. That's bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right, hon.
Sign language makes things look cooler, you know, like push up your breast and bathroom looked cool. I mean, damn, you know, I need to learn sign language. Don't tell him. I always wonder, like, if I ever said anything very offensive, it's really know about it.
or you're actually saying something offensive and they take it completely innocently, like playing with your boobs. You're like, hey, baby, play with your boobs, but she's really deaf, and so she's like, you're excited? That's nice.
Last 3 hours, let's start the beat. Mail-in initiative. I think it's I don't know. Like I said, I think it's good that people get together and do. You know, if you do all these all the time, they're just hype streams. But I mean, like I said, if you get people out there, I know you two very, very firmly believe in this project. You know, Cyborg has hit me up and said, "Hey, you know, let's look at this. You know, this is an exciting project there." And you know, I was already on board looking at it anyway. But it's great to see enthusiasm from people that already back a lot of projects. So, you know, that happened. Like, I've probably been excited about, you know, very excited about 10 projects, 11, like just excited to see them. You know, I remember like with Cyberfrog, I was really excited to see Cyberfrog, you know, oh my God, this thing, or seeing the first Jawbreakers, you know, and seeing what that could do. And like I said, this also is a good measuring stick for, people that again are not establishment pros. You know, we've had a lot of success with the establishment pro. Like, I like to see somebody coming out, not the, you know, that's never, I hate using these words, but I'll use them anyway. People, I heard a pro say this, you know, people that have quote unquote paid their dues. Well, you know, Kyle didn't pay those traditional dues. And, you know, it's good to see this, that you can succeed anyway.
Right. Well, and so one of the interesting things I learned about Kyle, like way early on, the only job he has ever had has been comic book colorist.
That's
like,
awesome.
Like literally, he never worked at like a Jamba Juice or like delivered papers. Like, I was asking him, and I was like, "What was your first job?" And he goes, "Oh, coloring for DC and Marvel." I was like, fuck? Like, how was that your first job? And he's like, "I did stuff for Valiant too." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that obviously makes it way better."
You know, if you were gonna slum at Valiant, you know.
Right. Oh, geez, that's it. Damn, you poor soul. It's like my first job. I worked at a closing Frontier Pies in freaking Utah. Okay, we had a pie called the cow pie.
Oh my God!
I'm not even kidding. It was called a cow pie. It had like an Oreo base. It was chocolate pudding, and it had those little Whopper candies in it. And it was called the cow pie because it was all brown.
Oh my God!
Like that was my first job, was working there for the last 3 months that place was even open. And at one point there was no customers whatsoever. I made $2.15 an hour, and I had to help them take wagon wheels that they had as like these little in between all the booths. They were like, "Yeah, since we don't have anyone here and we've got to start, you know, tearing stuff down and moving, you have to disconnect these giant like 200-pound wagon wheels and start pulling them down off of these booths for $2.15 an hour at the age of like 15, which wasn't even technically legal to work there."
And Kyle's out coloring for Valiant and Marvel and DC.
You know, just whatever. Just go ahead and start making like really good money while I'm slumming it at $2.15 an hour and getting free cornbread and honey butter.
Tug, what was your first job? And if you can't say specifically, just generally. Like,
no. I mean, like, you know, first paid job. I don't know. Like, I when I was the first thing I ever made money doing, gigolo. No, I'm just kidding. When I was 3, I actually made comic money. That was when I was 3. My granddad would make me go ride around with him in a taxi. He actually retired and he was bored, so he would shuttle around. You know. Other people. They basically set up in this small town to make sure the elderly or other people, you know, they could get around. They gave them a very affordable like service there. You know, it's really cheap, just enough to pay gas money. But they would always, you know, pay in change. So I would get a bunch of change, and you know, they'd set up right outside this. I think it was a CB food stores, and it had a comic rack. So that's actually how I got into comics. My granddad picked one up and was like, buy this. So,
but giving you recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, as a teen, I've lived out in, the far country, so I've done farm work. I've done hard work like cutting tobacco, throwing hay, stuff like that. And then my first, I got paid. I worked at a junkyard. I've told the crazy stories about that, where the guy got his nut blown off.
Yeah.
And then let's see, my first job I picked out as an adult, I worked in a factory. Plastics.
Wow. I'm the stereotype. I had my first job was Wendy's, and my second job was Taco Bell.
So I think
I've had a bunch of my docs. Like they still haven't figured out the newest one yet. The doxing stuff, but they did docs all the way up to about half a decade ago or so. Actually, they got the dates a little wrong there, but they assume, like, when a picture was posted, they assume that the date's correct because the system on a website, the way it updates, they assume they've got the date on it right, but they actually don't. But still, they doxed, all the way up to working in, I've been a mental health practitioner, so it's very interesting.
Have you really, Tug? That's so cool.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I work. That's why. The newest stuff, like Weeb Wars, we're talking about that. That's why these crazies, like, when you look at them, that's why you gotta fight these people. You see them, their newest Nazi, they call people, I always spell it. I hate to throw this out on channels, a P to the E to the D to the O, and they call people that. And
right.
I've worked with kids, I've worked with victims, and I know how terrible those kind of people really are. So, when people are just falsely labeling and burning people's lives down, I got to fight that.
Right. No, I completely understand. So mental health is actually a really big thing for me. I mean, I come from I have 3 schizophrenic aunts, and they're all paranoid schizophrenics. And if you've never had to deal with a paranoid schizophrenic, it's super fun.
Yeah. Really
entertaining, especially at the age of 13. It's great.
Well, when the in the state of Tennessee, if you go to the hospital, you have a severe problem, they won't hospitalize you. They'll put you in an aftercare facility. That facility will, quote unquote, stabilize you. They'll medicate the problem away. Doesn't matter what it is. They'll give you enough medication. Once they say you're stable, they slept for 3 hours, they're stable, kick them out. Well, in the state of Tennessee, we can only house less than 2% of the chronically mentally ill. So you're talking about paranoid schizophrenics. Over 98% of them go back on the street or wherever they came from. Well, I worked with people that were housed, and that was very interesting. I actually found it very, very worthwhile, to be honest, doing that kind of work.
Right. Well, so I used to volunteer at like an old folks home, but I did it when I wasn't emotionally mature enough to really kind of handle the impact of that. There was, and I still remember her name, bless her. I think it was about 14. There was a woman named Franny, and she was the whole story of like somebody who got dumped at an old folks home, and then her family just stopped visiting her because it was too difficult. And watching, like, going and visiting her and spending time with her and seeing how important it was to her to have that interaction was the most rewarding and simultaneously the hardest thing that I ever did. I got to a point where every time I drove past that place, I would see like an ambulance. I had to stop going because I was 14. I couldn't handle like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go in there and Franny's going to be gone. And, but I also have 3 schizophrenic aunts. So I've dealt with, they're all different levels too of schizophrenia, which is fantastic. I have the one who's like, I'm schizophrenic and need medication for the rest of my life. And I'm like, good, you understand that. And then I have the one who's like, if I can afford it, I guess I'll do it. And I'm like, it'd be better if you took it all the time. And then I have the one who takes it until it starts working, and then she thinks she's cured, and then she thinks that the medication is actually trying to control her. And so then she stops taking it, and then she commits things like Grand Theft Auto. because God told her to, which is super, super fun to deal with when you're like a small teenager and she calls and is like, I need to speak to my brother. And I'm like, you're like 40. I don't know why you're saying it like you're 10. But the whole gambit of mental health has always been something that's really, really interested me, but something I could never actually go into.
Well, when I say I went into it too, I went in as a diagnostician and a therapist. So, I can diagnose, I'm not talking like a case manager or anything. Just
right.
That. When people, I was in mental health, you were a social worker. Oh, okay. Then no, like
right.
That,
no, well, and that's the thing is like, I will say though, diagnosticians are probably some of the most important people because they're the first person that somebody sees. And I've been to some that are terrible. Like I live with people that have obsessive compulsive disorder and people that have severe anxiety disorders and schizophrenia and all this kind of stuff. And so every now and then I go simply because I'm like, look, things are getting hard. I don't want them to break. So I just need to go so I can get that pressure release. And the last time I went, I actually had a diagnostician who was like, well, I think that you might be in a toxic marriage. And I was like, I don't see how you have a right to say shit to me about my marriage, considering you just met me and you know nothing about what's going on. And she was like, you seem abnormally angry. Have you ever considered being bipolar? And I was like, I'm about to smash your face into a monitor.
Have you ever considered being bipolar?
Right.
Like that was something you would pick out of a catalog that you wanted. Have you ever considered bipolar? We have lovely deals on it
today. And it turned into like a huge thing. And all I could think of was, I'm really, really happy that I wasn't like suicidal because I serve in the military. We've had, I want to say probably a month and a half ago, I think that the Air Force was at 85 suicides this year, which is almost double what we were this time last year. And all I could think of was, I am so happy that I have a good enough support network that I am not suicidal, because if I would have met that woman, like that would have been my day.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad ones out there. There's a lot of them that they don't, there's a lot of bad ones that vote on a lot of, changes to mental health as well. As we go forward, they normalize a lot of mental illness. So when I say that we deal with crazies, trust me, I know as I'm not a lay person. I always telling you that now. I was like, no, I literally meant like we're dealing with crazies. We do, that's what industry should have never catered to those people. Industry should have remembered the consumer. Consumers don't want to deal with that, consumers.
No.
We want escapism.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is like 14-year-old me had to deal with my aunt calling constantly sounding like she was 5 when she's in her like mid to late 40s. And I'm sitting here trying to be like, my body's changing in hormones. And my aunt's like, hey, I'm like a 5-year-old. I'm like, I can't handle your shit. Okay. Like I got my own shit, Jason won't talk to me and I can't handle it. So I can't do you too.
Right. And 95 now. Yeah.
And people don't seem to understand like, injecting all of that into comics. Comics are supposed to be escapism. That's supposed to be the place that you go.
Yes, it's supposed to be escapism.
Mm-hmm. Well, there used to be a time when people understood that. Professionals understood that. They were a better caliber of professional. They actually were also fans of the thing they were. These people they're bringing in, you could tell that they hate this field. That's another thing that really makes me enthusiastic about a lot of the pros that I run across. You could, like I said, you can tell with Kyle when you deal with him, man, he's happy to actually talk about comic books or talk about, what he does as a skilled professional.
I don't like the fact that Sai controls the camera.
No, I don't. That's Kyle.
That was Kyle.
That was like extreme close-up, volume 3. It was funny.
It's because I was flipping off Sai, and so he thought it was funny, so he thought he was going to highlight hilarious. Me.
I say, like I said, he's one of those. I hope his platform grows quite a bit. I hope people help out with that because, we remember what brought an army of people in. Fun platforms. If we have a few out there, and we can cross them up. We already have like EVS's platform, which is fun to goof off on. Have all kinds of crazy that comes up. Kyle's would be fun. Malin's. I don't know. I'm thinking about. I periodically. I have people on I trust. I guess we'll go with that. They make comic books that are awesome. And
That's fair.
Yellow Flash actually has comic people on sometimes. So.
Hey, Tug. Why do your DMs keep being marked as being read? You've never read them.
My DMs marked as read. I'm
sending you messages, and it keeps saying that you've looked at them.
That's what people are like. Hey, you've read my DMs. I'm like, how the fuck? I'm sitting here. Obviously, I'm not paying attention to my DMs. I'm sitting here bullshitting. And actually, I'm not even doing that. I'm not even looking at the chat or anything. I'm bullshitting, but I'm also I'm organizing comic books. So I've got some shelves behind me. I'm like, where did that? I was looking for a comic book earlier, and it pissed me off. I couldn't find it, so it motivated me to organize some shelves.
So yeah, there's a setting in Twitter that you basically send read receipts to people who also have that option enabled. So for people that have that on, I can see when they've actually looked at my DMs, and if you leave that window open, it automatically flags it as you've looked at it.
That's funny. No, I hadn't looked. I just looked now. I
was trying to be subtle.
That, though,
Well, thank you for responding that and typing it.
Super subtle side.
Talking about it now.
You're like, check those DMs.
Oh, hey, Sai, something you'll be interested in?
I don't know. Is it a creepy, not so part of your family?
I'm 6 away.
Oh
no,
cool.
my whole family's insane. We don't got to talk about it anymore. I'm 6 away.
Okay.
I ate John Wick, by the way. Actually, the E thing, he couldn't. EVS, he had something. It's just like with mine. I couldn't get on with EVS for the last day because he was moving and his signal went out. So
right. No. For Ethan, he's trying to fulfill. He's got all of the Cyberfrog that he just recently finally got from his printer, and he's trying to get it out to everybody. So it's no ill will towards Kyle whatsoever. It's simply the fact that he has so much shit in his house that he's trying to get out.
And just to explain, since I actually talked to him, he already had 2 business commitments for today, and these are public, so there's no problem with me telling them.
Well, and I think we're no dissing on anybody, but I think we're doing pretty good.
So, I feel like we're fine.
We're looking at about at least minimum. I figure it's a good day with a 10K day is a good day, and that's
absolutely.
Oh, and he just crossed the 100K threshold last night.
No.
Oh yeah, yep. Last night at, what was it, about 3 a.m. maybe 2 or 3?
Well, for you, but this goes off Pacific time, so.
I'm sorry, I go off of Eastern because that's the most important time zone.
Okay, Mike Miller, there are only 3 time zones.
Wow, ouch.
Shay's getting her box cutter out.
I don't have a box cutter.
No, but yeah, so almost 15,000 so far just today. But I mean, it is the last day, so you get the last day bump. But yeah,
I mean, but even still, that's a huge bump, and it's simply because Kyle is that kind of person that makes people want to back him.
Yeah, it's got a monster project. Like the word will get out there. One of the beautiful things we're running into as we get into more and more fandoms as well. A message that I try to promote across fandoms is we can bitch about problems or we can find a solution. And the only solution to this is creating alternative business. We're going to have to. We can cling to the apron strings of dead industry, and they can choke the love out of us for that. Because I mean, if you hate, it becomes like a noose for escapism. You start to hate products. I hate Marvel products. I absolutely hate them now because they're not fun anymore. And I really realized that. I was going through some old books, I ran across, I was looking at Spider-Man 300, and looking at First Appearance of Carnage, all of this stuff. And I thought, man, I hate those. Now we can cling to that and hope we get it back. I tried that for years, or we can back something better. That's why, this stuff is very important.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah, and that's why indie comics are growing at such an amazing rate. And Tug, I listened to your shows where you really dive into numbers, not only of comic book companies that are failing miserably that have their debt load coming due in October, but also the ones where you were breaking down what was it, like the Diamond Summit or whatever it was, talking about how indie was growing, and like EVS himself was like over 1% of the comic segment.
Yeah, isn't that insane? Like when you look at that, that would mean, though, okay, if EVS is 1% of it at that would mean, like, to say how much we impact a person like myself, I'm 0.1% of an extra point. I mean, considering we're talking about a monster set up there, having that kind of impact, they have ignored us to their detriment. And again, I'm glad that they did not listen to us when Comicsgate first started out, because it showed us we would have gone back through this 5 years from now when they decided, hey, we need to be woke again. Fuck them, they would have done the same thing. Now you get to pick the pros. Most of us are awake to the problems out there.
Right. Or it would have been some half-assed compromise. Yeah. But by just building our own thing, it makes it so much better.
It's so, it took a while. We had people ask us, are you like crackhead? Do you have to have this? Well, kind of a little bit. I like to have it, but do you have any dignity? And yeah, I like to have some. That's why I don't particularly like the idea of boycotting. If I'm going to boycott, it's going to be because I support someone like we're talking about here, or I support another professional because I like what they do. I send a message that way. I'm not going to buy a Marvel Comics in hope that look, enough of us bought one, therefore, they should make better ones. No, fuck that. Let's go.
Right.
Oh my God, we've already been on for almost 2 hours. That's amazing.
Have we really?
Yeah, hour 40.
That would explain why I'm towards the last bit of my grape juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to work on that rambling skill. Like me, I can ramble for about probably 11 hours, and then I'll usually run out of steam.
So sober, I can ramble for a very long time. Ramble. I can ramble forever. No, I don't normally get drunk, but honestly, I'm celebrating with Kyle, and I'm really, really proud of everything that he's done, and I'm really happy for him. And so I kind of said, fuck it. And decided that an entire bottle of grape juice was going to be fantastic.
I've just been looking for, again, I've been more exuberant. I've had a reality check a few days ago. I found myself wanting to get involved with stuff. I've been like, yeah, comics again. And, there's like I said, a lot of negativity without dredging up any negativity. Just saying there's a lot of negativity out there. And it's pointed at people that I consider friendly or friend. Like, there are people like EVS, for example. We talked about him. I consider EVS friendly to friend. He's definitely encouraged and helped me out with projects, stuff like that. He's encouraged that. And I needed something to look at. Just a second. Yeah. What was it? The lady's name at the bottom. That was Shay.
Hey, Shay.
Hi, sweetie. How are you? I thought you were going to bed.
Why aren't you in bed?
Because you like my Barbie.
That was totally a deflection.
Because you like my Barbie.
Because she loves Shay. That's why she's not in bed.
She likes to show out. She likes to be a star.
Oh my gosh, she is.
Oh look, it's Art. Can you say hey? That's a little crazy. All right, hey, you better go. Oh, Mama caught you. You're in trouble now. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. Walk up, the March of Shame. Hey, say bye.
Okay. Bye, Shay.
Bye, sweetie. I love you.
What about everybody else? You're not going to just say bye, everybody?
Bye.
I got a by name shout out by Lug. I'm the happiest person ever.
So I have to clip this now and send it to you, is what you're telling me.
Yes, this is gonna be my ringtone. I fucking love Lug. She's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, you know what was hilarious is finally getting to, you know, I took her to Bubba Fest, and she was hilarious there. You know, it was awesome, and I want her to experience. I would have killed for some of these experiences as a kid. You know, getting to hang with comic people and stuff. You know, I mean, it would have been awesome. But she, you know, she has a book that we added a little story to it, like a 6-page story, and it's pretty much an adaptation of one of her stories. So it's completely like her story, just you know, with paneling. And I mean, damn, she's her own little star there. Like if she live streams, she can hold down 400 to 700 people. So
yeah. I bet.
Her stories are lovely.
But you know, Comicsgate supports. That's one of the things. Like you look at what these people out there are calling counterculture. You have pros that support books that kids can read, that adults can read. I mean, this stuff should not be counterculture. You know, I mean, we're talking professionalism and decent products, you know, and again, that's why I'm here, because we actually have somebody that embodies both of those, and that shouldn't be counterculture.
Right. No, absolutely not.
But it is.
It always is. We have Liam. Hi, Liam.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Cool.
You know, this is the first time I've ever seen you on stream.
Oh, cool. Well, this is I've just been on social media, like shooting through the StarBlades link to a bunch of people in the Thundercats and Masters of the Universe communities.
Hey,
I figured they might not have seen it.
Hey, 1 second, we're at 115. So bam,
Woo!
There you go.
Got to refresh.
Awesome. That's great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just like, hell yeah, that's where I wanted to see it.
Oh no, it's good.
That's my
minimum baseline.
Oh my gosh, we are even.
How did it go up $10? Because it was at $114,990.
Somebody had to have refunded and rebacked at a higher tier.
No, that's not what it is. They would have had to have manually contributed $10 and not selected a perk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, some people, you know, they will contribute and everything.
Right.
People, again, they just want to see people succeed out there.
I totally get that. Is there's so much good stuff that you could get from Kyle from so very cheap. So it just shocks me that somebody's like, I'm just going to shoot you $10 just for the shit of it.
Well, it can be also, look at it as super chatting. You know, if people can't super chat on here, that's what they do. You know, they're shooting that there. So I mean, they're supporting in their own way.
That is very true, and we thank everyone.
Okay, I have to say this real quick. Shay is actually the contributor that put StarBlades over $100,000 last night.
Yeah, I kind of was. I'm sorry. I really had to.
So props to Shay.
Okay. Do you know what time it crossed? Do you know exactly like when it crossed?
It's going to be whenever she got her email.
So I'm not being funny. I literally forced myself to stay up. Like I had a 2-day con that I was supposed to be doing at work, and instead I stayed up because we were so close to busting the 6-figure mark, and at some point somebody backed and left $20 left, and I was like, screw that shit, I will work an extra shift. And I like went in and I quickly got the other cover that I really, really, really wanted, and then I had a tweet and everything canned, and I frantically refreshed until it finally popped, and once it popped I like threw it right at Kyle. I was like, by the way, this just happened. And he was like, did you just back me again? I was like, I might have. I'm sorry. I had to.
I knew, like when I did not have to have a procedure done today, I thought I gotta help. I gotta see a 10K day. There's gonna be a way. We gotta get this
yes,
project.
Absolutely. Lesson from Shay is Kyle is cheap. How is Kyle cheap? I had to work an extra shift to cover it.
So Liam, you were going to say something, and I ungraciously cut you off.
I wasn't saying anything important. I just thought that, you know, while you go, now my voice is gone. Sorry, no, I was just sending out the link to a bunch of people in the Masters of the Universe and Thundercats community on Twitter, I was just kind of tagging them that awesome trailer, that awesome StarBlades trailer, which is utterly incredible, hoping that we could get some more traffic in here and get this thing up, you know?
That's super awesome. Thank you so much, Liam.
13 Speed said the lesson from Shay is Kyle is cheap. There you go.
Kyle is very much. Look, let me just say this. Kyle isn't cheap because in order for me to back what I ended up backing, that is an entire other shift at my second job that I get to work, simply because I love Kyle so much that I was like, fuck it, it's not a big deal. And my other job, by the way, is cleaning, which means that I'm like taking out trash and getting splashed with garbage juice, or I'm scrubbing toilets. So
garbage juice, man, that sounds sick.
Sai, what's the nickname for my second job?
We lovingly refer to Shay's second job as garbage bukkake.
Garbage bukkake. That's so gross.
Because it has hit her in the face before, and Shay, you may tell that story now.
Splash.
So we were trying to change out a bunch of trash, and there was a bag of trash that had, I'm not even kidding you, had about this much liquid in the bottom because people are assholes and don't realize that ice melts. And when we pulled it out, it wasn't leaking. When we went to actually put it somewhere, it was. So we went to go double bag it. And where I work has government issued bags, which means that they're super cheap and very shit. And we were trying to double bag it to keep it from leaking, and while we were putting it in, the bag decided to flip. It shot disgusting garbage juice straight up in the air. It hit the girl I was working with up in her bangs and was literally dripping down her face off of her bangs. And it hit me in the eye, and it was really horrible, and I was terrified I was going to get pink eye, and I ended up taking a whole bunch of... I didn't like the best part is the bathrooms that were right there were closed for remodeling. So the only thing I had available was hand sanitizer. And I said, fuck it. And I put hand sanitizer in my hands and rubbed it on my face and prayed that I wasn't going to get pink eye.
Oh man, here's you an awful story. So before I went to college, I actually worked as an assistant with with people with MR. At the time, people were diagnosed mentally retarded. Before it became a non-PC word. And people they would be put into home. To be able to take care of them. There were 14 people in this specific home. Well, one of them got very mad because we wouldn't take everybody to Wendy's. So me and this other guy were out. We were cleaning a van off, and this guy comes out, lifts up his shirt, and unclips a colostomy bag, and he throws it. Now, I ate dirt like it was a bomb. I wouldn't. No, I'm not having that. Now, the other guy goes flying past him, and I see. I remember the slow motion. Look at that. He looks around him and he's like, "Get on me!" And he had this line across his face. I was like, "Yeah, that's the worst thing ever." I was like, man, casualty of colostomy warfare.
So bad.
That's the worst.
I should have probably told you I'm eating dinner after this, but I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what you're telling us, Tug, is that you've always been dealing with shit in your work.
Yeah. I always make sure that other people take a lot of shit. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's terrible.
Or the other people are the ones losing a ball.
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
It is, and you told it once, and then I made you retell it again by reminding you of it in your chat.
That was crazy. I mean, I always like the whole punchline to that too is guy jokes about his nut being blown off. It actually has a punchline there. It's like, oh man.
Go rewatch Tug's streams if they're still up if you want to hear the story, because that's gruesome. Why is Kyle making a heart shape? What are you telling us?
He's like, I love that story. That's
so the reason Kyle's making a heart shape. I love getting my balls blown off by a full-on canister. No, it's because I signed to him that Tug was talking about his work with shit, and he looked really concerned. So I gave him a heart to try and make him feel better.
That's funny. Just tell them it doesn't matter. People like it, and they're paying money to back while we talk about horrible things.
Poop and testicles being forcefully.
I question it.
If anyone was curious, If anyone was curious, the sign for shit is that.
What is it again? Show me.
So you hold your thumb and then pull it out.
Oh, that's lovely. That's actually a very gross, like even
style,
no. You know? I mean, that's just nasty in its own way.
Bullshit.
Which remarkably looks exactly like it is.
Later art, man. Pube stash. What a name.
That I don't know. I apologize. I cannot sign pube stash.
Pube stash. There you go. That's right.
Yeah, she'll rely on my typing to relate that.
I will. 1,000%. That's all Cy and whatever Kyle decides to do on stream.
The stupidest thing I've ever seen was in Oklahoma. So I went to this park. And I went over by some picnic tables, and I thought, man, what are these weird things in the ground? You know, they look like little tree bits. And then I noticed they were in the picnic tables. Like, what the fuck are those? So I walked over, and I noticed there was a hedge bush, you know, that was like over to the right. I went, and luckily I didn't walk over to the tables first. I went and looked around that. There was an archery range on the other side of it. You know, it's public, and they didn't make the hedge tall enough, so people's arrows would go over the fucking hedge and into the tables where people sat.
Oh my god!
I was like, oh, that was there was either a monster that put it together and he was really smart, or it was the dumbest like civil servant ever.
You know, even at like driving ranges, they'll have nets and stuff like that to catch the ball. But no, just a full-on archery range.
Just thought, I thought there were a lot of things like that I noticed, and yeah, that's I had to leave that state pretty fast.
I'm telling Kyle to stop killing Shay.
So the reason he's killing me is because I asked him what the sign was for pube stash, and he said, I don't know. I was like,
you asked him, oh, that's amazing.
I was like, dude, you typed it. What's the sign for it? And he goes, I have no idea.
What's the sign for pube? And then what's the sign for mustache? We can mix them together. Oh, I got to know now.
He would type it to me. You can't type me in ASL, honey.
Oh man, come on! I got to know it. Because now I could say that's bullshit, pube stash. If I yeah.
So just for
bullshit
the audience,
is my favorite thing to say to people.
I'm telling Kyle in our private chat where I'm explaining what people are saying as we go. You can't type in ASL, jackass.
Edward's like, that sounds awful. It does. It's very catchy when you're like, man, pube stash. That's
oh my gosh,
it really sticks with you. You know, that's
Hug. You just reminded me. I bought a flip book that is creative cursing. And it has like two little sections, so you basically just randomly flip to two sections, and it gives you a new curse word.
Oh, so this is my favorite person I ever worked with. I worked with a guy that he had full blown Tourette's, and you know, since it's an illness, they can't fire him for it, even if he was, you know, for the stuff. He would have specific word tics, like. His word tick that would normally come up would be, it was the weirdest combination. It would be Jesus, penis, fetus. So he would go, he would be talking to people. He was talking to this older lady. She was checking out. She was buying stuff. And she was like, oh, you're such a cute little guy. And he was like, oh, that's Jesus, penis, fetus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it would just come up. It would just keep coming up. I was like, this is the best job ever, you know? I mean... oh my God! Even he, you know, he loved it too. But you couldn't get rid of it. But it was the greatest job ever. Anyway, that was creative profanity. You brought that up and it made me think about that.
I'm asking him if there's a sign for crotch hair because he says there's no sign for pubes.
He was like, I asked him if there was a sign for stash, and he goes, I don't know this.
Shay, just hold two fingers directly under your nose like you're sniffing your fingertips, and it's kind of like
No, you got to have like a middle finger pointing down at your junk. You got two fingers like you're sniffing it, and a middle finger pointing at your junk.
Is that good?
Oh my God, Shay.
He doesn't.
He's so off the rails.
Damn, I swear, somebody's motorboating.
Wow. Liam, trim the pubes after your eye.
Trimming the pubes. That was my procedure. I was reviewing the tape of it. Funny thing, like when I had my gallbladder out, I actually asked the guy if I could record it. I was joking around, and doctors, a lot of them have no humor, and he like goes through this whole thing. Well, it's actually against hospital policy. He goes through this whole thing. I was like, dude, I'm just kidding. I didn't really want to live stream I asked him if I could live stream my surgery.
Oh my gosh, you were gonna live stream your surgery?
Yeah. I mean, if they would have let me, actually.
What were you getting chopped off or whatever? Like what?
Exactly. That was my next question, Liam. Oh. What was the surgery?
No, see, I've made it a rule that I will not talk about a surgery, like what actually is going to happen until after it happens. That's my jinx line. So
hold up, you were going to live stream it, but you're not going to tell us.
I was going to live stream my gallbladder surgery, and I asked them about that, and I had my appendix taken out too. So
wow.
Yeah. That's what there are songs that like. There's an album called Comics Gate Christmas. I think most people have heard it by now, and it makes jokes about all this. Yeah, that's right. And it talks about the shit where I wanted to live stream on it.
No, didn't it talk about you having a nut removed and 3 toes and stuff?
No. It was like a cybernetic eyeball, I think, not a nut. It would have been just as funny with a nut. I think that. I'm trying to remember who put that album together. Like it's it's one of the kind. And if people like that, they should go and support it too. Just to say, if you really like it, $10. No, it's an actual surgical procedure. I'm not getting fixed that way or anything. Like I just like I said, I would like to wake up afterwards. So that's my jinx line. Call it whatever. I'll talk about it after it's done.
Yeah, and downshift, I'm just skipping the middleman and getting it all gone. So,
by the way, just to periodically throw this out there, we are actually talking about StarBlades here. I know it's hard to tell, but
no, I haven't dropped the link in like an hour.
It's got an hour and change left. We're looking at 1,882 backers. It would be good to see 1,900 backers. I really would like to see that level for sure. And again, 115,000 is great. That is a good line, but man, I'd like to see how far this thing could push it, because again, when we're looking at that, we're going to get talent out there. There's a lot of talent.
This is honestly like, I'm not blowing smoke. This is probably one of the best properties that we've seen in comic books, period, for probably almost 10 years. It should be at least a $300,000 campaign. It is incredibly good. It's going to have legs. So all of this stuff, like I sort of is go Kyle, go good. Yeah, it's kind of, this is going to be your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. You get this, and then you get to say, hey, I was there at the start. So people, this is going to be a phenomenon. Like you look at the trailer, you look at the art. Kyle's got a great story. If you guys know anyone that would even be remotely interested, you should be sharing this on your Facebook, on your Twitter, getting it out there, because when people find this, it's going to blow up big.
It's the second best item in Comicsgate behind that littlest umbrella. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop myself. No, it's good though. Seriously, 90 pages. Oh, shit. Yeah. I'm just by quantity alone, like looking at the quality, but getting the damn quantity too. I was really, I don't know. 98. Like I said, I thought that was typo.
Yeah.
No, good.
When he was like, "Oh, we're going from 60 to 90," I was like, "I'm going to go down to Florida just to punch you in the face for that. Are you serious?"
Hey, Mike Miller, what's up, man?
So, Kyle has requested that I play this.
Yes, please.
Much to my chagrin.
I'm gonna learn.
Bush. Okay.
Assuming it plays on your shitty Chromebook. Really?
Wow.
That could be anything.
And that looks more like the sign for badonkadonk or something. He's like, yo, thick. No, that's Bush. Well, you're like, that's the same thing. No, wait, never mind.
That's so generic. That could be like I'm double petting my very tall dog. I don't know.
I'm telling you, that looks like damn, she's thick, you know.
That looks like Beck Young Lee.
Yeah, that's the sign for I want to hire Kyung Lee to draw women.
So, do you have any idea? I just need to ask you guys right now. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to finger spell badonkadonk to a guy who is dead? I spelled it to him twice, and he was like, "What the crap did you just?"
Yeah, I can see that. He's like, "What?"
He's like, "I don't know what this word is."
That's hilarious. Hey, our geek, how's it going?
And I'm translating it for him.
Translating.
Ghetto slang for ass.
Yeah. By the way, if you haven't, since Mike is here, if you haven't backed the book that is blown past Lone Star 1 and blown the doors off of it, after, of course, it crushed John Malin. It crushed the wolf milk out of him.
Oh.
Poor Malin.
We're just saying StarBlades is kind of fucking awesome. That's all we're saying.
Like I said, I'm glad. Like when I think about creative teams, there are a lot of creative people out there. Good creators. I was really excited. Again, I was really excited about Mike Miller's art. He creates damn good art. He's been around a long time. And John Malin, when I saw him come up, Ethan, but like I said, this guy right here is part of that. I think about talented mofos. He's one of them.
Talented mofos. Can I just say real quick, Tug? You remember how you were saying that the goal that you wanted to see him hit was going past 115? He is definitely past 115.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
He's gonna hit my goal. He will hit my goal before we're done. I have all the faith.
I'm showing what you're talking about once the stamp page loads.
Okay.
On your shitty ass Chromebook.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Are you doing it on your fucking $3,000 PC, or are you just sitting there being drunk?
Yeah. The thing too, like people have to remember, is when you're scrolling past some of these, the ones that were above that, these are the most funded books ever. So like the We Can Be Heroes, those are food drives, so they don't count in here. I mean, when you saw that, he's landing in all. These are the top books. It's impressive as it is. I mean, you look at these people, and you realize comic book creators. They have owned the upper pantheon of books. You have 3 books in the top 17. Again, Jim Lee's Backpacks is not a freaking comic book, but there's 17 comic books that are setting their in I believe the top, in the 100,000 range, and I think 14 of the 17 are Comicsgate ones. And look where he lands. I mean, again, he's created one of the biggest, the most funded crowd. I mean, that's astounding. I think every creator needs a bow there, but especially him. That's astounding, and all props go to, of course, the crowd that makes that happen.
Why does DC Entertainment We Can Be Heroes have like 5 entries of the same thing?
It's where they've done different food drives. They're like,
one's Justice League, one's General, and one's Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
So in other words, they split it up, and so they would have more visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Or they've done it at different times, because this of all time even ended once.
Either way,
they've all just got that same. They've just got that same lazy logo, that same lazy thumbnail. It's like, come on, guys. And wait a minute. Why is one of the biggest publishers in the industry crowdfunding? Like, what's going on?
Well, they were crowdfunding. They were crowdfunding for food relief for the Horn of Africa, I believe.
Oh, that's cool. I apologize.
No.
DC
It's actually
being real
a good
heroes.
question. No, it's a very good question. Why couldn't they get off their ass and donate their own money? Yeah, shit. They could have done that. I mean, it is good that they actually put something out there. They could have they could offload books that no one wanted to buy while well, taking it and saying, hey, it is a charity write-off for them to do that too. So, you know,
So
I guess,
so you know, I counted, and if you remove
We
the
got
food
another
drives,
sale by the looks of it. We're up to
yeah. If you remove the food drives and you remove the duplicate EVS ones, he is at number 12 of all time on IGG.
All right, see, he's closing in on that top. That's what I mean. In the top, that is astounding. To your first project hitting the top 12 all-time funded on this platform.
I mean, but the thing is how many people's first projects look like Kyle's? Let's be real.
No, that's true. You know, well, it's just something that says that he's going to be big, you know, anyway. Like you can see that. I could see that with the Cyber Frog detail. Like he brought out, I could fucking see it. I thought, man, this dude is talented. Certain people make me appreciate colorists. Like some colorists can make or break a deal, yes. But
absolutely.
Some colorists make the deal, you know, they make it better.
So
well, that's their job. That's what you've got to be looking for. You know, that's what you know. You need a colorist that's going to complement your work. You can get a colorist that's really good, but they're not complementing your work, and it won't work no matter how much you sort of rib with it. But Kyle Ritter isn't just a colorist. He's one of the greatest comic book creators of our time. We're on a new resurgence. There's a new wave coming in with new talent, with prodigies like Kyle. And it's an exciting time to be alive. It's amazing to be getting on at the ground floor of this, because this stuff is going to be what our kids grow up on. This stuff's going to be, you know, give this another 5-10 years. This is what's going to be on television. It's going to be epic. It's
absolutely.
Great.
Well, and
look at this. Look at that.
Right. The really interesting thing about Kyle is the level of like professionalism that he brings. When everybody was like, oh, he's just a colorist, it's like, he really isn't though. You don't understand. Like he understands anatomy, he understands paneling, he knows how to do dialogue, he knows how to write, he knows how to make things interesting, he knows how to fucking animate now. Like if there's something that he wants to do, especially if it's going to be to tell his story and to tell his story in the best possible way, Kyle will put in the effort. Like I talked to him about this whole thing because I've done Premiere After Effects before, and it can be a huge pain in the ass if you don't know what you're doing. And he was like, oh yeah, I watched like 30 YouTube videos on how to do specific things, and I contacted people who do this professionally and was like, how do I make the flames look realistic, and how do I do like where SharkBlade is kind of like floating through the water and everything. It's like, how do I make that really impactful? And he goes to other people, and he's humble enough to go to other people and be like, I don't know how to do this, can you help me? And they give him that advice, and he really takes it to heart, and he makes it something that's just phenomenal. It makes all of us look really terrible.
Totally. Like I said, Kyle Ritter is an absolute prodigy. We are blessed to be able to meet him so early in his career, because the people investing in StarBlades right now, you're not just investing in Kyle, you're investing in the artist and the creator that Kyle's going to be in 10 years. Look at where he is now. Give him another 10 years of experience and imagine what we're going to be getting out of this guy. You know, it's an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely, Liam. And that, like, just from a personal standpoint, the way that you kind of talk about his project and the way that you talk about the things that he does and everything, it's really, like, for me, it makes my heart kind of sing, because it's the same way that I feel about Kyle. Is he's, out of everybody that I've seen in comics, out of everybody that I've seen in indie comics, and everybody that I've seen who've put forth this effort, when it comes to that dedication, and when it comes to that, like, really, like, bleeding for your project and bleeding for what it is that you do, Kyle is one of the few people that I've seen who has really, really put that to the test, and he puts his money where his mouth is, and he's very, very big on making sure that people understand that it's not just him telling his story, it's him telling the story that he feels that all of his fans want to hear. And it's what all of the people around him deserve to hear, because it's the thing that's been silenced for the past decade. And Kyle's like, you know, I'm done. I want to go back to what comics were in the 90s when I was growing up, and when it was fun, and when it was, inspiring and energetic, and that's what he's bringing back, and that's why it's doing so well, is because he's gone back to the root of what comics were supposed to be.
I like John Wick's book said, "Speak the truth, Tug. Colorists are people too." Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Colorists are people.
Colorists are people. Well, and when it really, if you really think about it, when it comes down to it, colorists really do, they have the ability to make or break a book. Because there's a lot of books that can hold perfectly well black and white, and they can look beautiful and impactful, but you put that little bit of color into them, and now they have emotion and feeling, and they really evoke everything that you're trying to evoke with across a much bigger fan base. You have people that will really relate to that kind of black and white, but then you have people that don't really feel what you're trying to put forward until they get that color version. And if you have a really good colorist, it makes everything pop. If you have a really shitty colorist, it blurs everything out, and you lose the story, you lose the detail. And because Kyle understands this, and he's been doing color work for so long, you have the professionalism of an actual colorist along with the professionalism of an artist who can pair those two together and make sure that he's giving you the best possible product available. And then on top of that, he's a good writer. So it's annoying because he's like an endless pit of fucking talent, and the rest of us are sitting here like, I can do a stick figure or a hand turkey. And that's
look at the moon. Look at the moon in that actual opening shot there. Just take a minute to really look at the moon behind that girl,
Yeah, behind Talon. Excuse me,
Talon,
not that girl. Talon. She is my favorite.
I've got to be a little bit chauvinist, or I wouldn't be,
You can't be a little bit chauvinist with Talon. She's fucking gorgeous. Like, look at her. She's all leg. I love this woman.
Yeah, but just look at the detail of it. You've got this sort of hyper realism, but you also have this really stylized sort of cartoonish look, and it looks really good. It's like right there in the middle where you want things, where you can just look at it, you recognize it instantly, and it's beautiful. It's literally, you're looking at art. This is high art. People draw fucking squares and triangles and stick them on a wall and sell them for millions of dollars, and yet he can produce something like this, and we still haven't found a way to show it to the whole world. It's like, what's going on?
That's the truth behind comics. I mean, we can monologue, we can dialogue, but we also have things that speak volumes, and that's what they're supposed to do. We're talking about sequential art stories that they can tell a tale without dialogue if need be. There could be another tale being told there, and I think that there are some talented people out there in the mainstream, but man, I mean, it's by and I can think of a handful, and damn, when I'm looking at that, like I said, this deserves the same kind of backing for that.
Right.
Hey, we look at award winners out there that can't pull down 2,000 backers. So seeing this edging up on that 2,000 backer, I mean, that's awesome too. Again, props to people for backing, for real.
Absolutely. Everyone who's backed, thank you so much. I don't think that you understand how much it means to Kyle, how much it means to me, how much it means to Sai, to Tug, to Liam, like everyone who's ever interacted with Kyle and understands what a genuine human being he is, being able to see so many people back him because his art is genuinely good and his story is genuinely good, and it's not, like Renfamous a while back was trying to go and say that it was all virtue signaling, and it's, oh my gosh, it's because he's deaf, and I mean, just like the most despicable things on the face of the planet. And being able to see exactly, because she's a horrible cow.
Well, that tells you about people. That tells you that people will minimize, and trivial. They hold that standard aloft until they can weaponize it in a different way. And meanwhile, and again,
absolutely.
When I say these nice things about this, I don't shill books. I don't get shit for talking about this book. The thing I get out of it at the end of the day is I backed it. I back a lot of projects, but like I said, I was happy about it. I do not add my voice to a lot of projects. So
no, you don't. Not anymore.
You definitely don't. And the fact that you saw it to be so appropriate for you to try and help Kyle, like, I know it means the world to Kyle, but from a personal standpoint, for me and Sai, because he is our best friend and he is somebody that we genuinely want to see succeed. Having somebody like you come on and be like, no, I don't back people, but I'm backing Kyle because he is that good and that genuine and that sincere. Like, that means the world to us.
Well, I mean, y'all have been going out of your way too. I mean, props to you all as well. But with him, I'm telling you, like, I mean, well, you know, when you have good people that back someone and they tell you about, you know, somebody and what they do, it speaks volumes. So like I said, I have a lot of people that I at least talk to that again, I've heard so many people that have had positive stories about, you know, hey, I learned this from my project. I learned how I could shade this portion better. You know, when I created that. And who taught you that? Kyle Ritter. Kyle Ritter does.
It's always Kyle. And Kyle is so willing to give. Like, it's to the point where people who are very, very close to Kyle and people who are very protective of Kyle because they don't want Kyle to be used. Especially because there's so many people. There are so many thoughts. There are so many just disingenuous people who see Kyle and they see Kyle's like openness and his willingness to help everyone he comes across, and they see it as a weakness as opposed to a strength. The amount of people that try to leverage that and try to capitalize on that is just despicable.
Well, what's amazing though, you know, a person that is inherently good, that's rare, and that's something that, yes, there are many disgusting people that will take advantage of good people. Like I said, when I hit Kyle up, you know, and I thought, you know, I was mentioning it before, you know, I was like, I wonder like what Kyle, you know, what he does with projects, you know, and some people were like, just hit him up. You know, I hit him up about this project and, you know, he helped me for free. I was like, shit, I don't want him to help me for free. Paid, you know, but.
So he just jumped $400 just to let y'all know.
And in case you guys hadn't considered it either, just for the people in the chat here, if you guys pick yourself up an extra copy of those 6 spirit covers, I know it's a bit of an investment, but if you guys pick that up, you've got your extra copy. You keep them sealed up. You take care of them. You're going to be able to sell them again down the line and probably make back the rest of the money that you put into the campaign, because there's going to be people that want to get this down the road, you know. So you can get an investment here as well if you hadn't considered that.
That's actually, you know, that's been one of the things that I've found interesting, going on eBay and watching some of these projects sell. I always like keeping up with where they go, and people have been able to at least maintain their investment. But yeah, I mean, if this is, if we are looking at somebody that moves forward, you know, collectability is part of what makes comic books valuable. And we're going to be talking about what, 3,000, 4,000 of these at most. So I mean, it's very interesting when you get down to that.
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's like 4 or 5 boxes worth of comics. It's not a lot. You think that it is. You think, 5,000, that's a lot of people, but you know, the market's huge, and most people aren't online. They don't know about this. They're going to find it later, and they're going to want it. I mean, look at it.
Well, Kyle is probably the most likely out of people to, if he wanted to do some mainstream stuff. I don't know why, because, you know, if you want to make money, you know, you do it this way, you know, but if he ever wanted to go in and put his mark on something, he would be, you know, he's not burned the mainstream. He has talent, so he can actually do this stuff. And if he ever did, I mean, hell, it would be, you know, again, this is his initial offering. If there's 3,000 of them out there, I fucking want one of them.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be absolutely huge. And just touching a bit on what you said a bit earlier as well, Tug, you know, about Renfamous being, you know, the absolute scum of the earth. These are people that sort of go, we've got to take care about people with disabilities and problems, and they sort of pamper them. You've got Kyle out here having the balls to come on stream despite the fact that, you know, he can't talk, he can't hear. He's out here selling his product like a freaking champ, not letting anything hold him back, succeeding in the face of adversity like a fucking real life hero. And and they want to drag him down for it. They want to sort of draw attention to his shortcomings instead of the greatness that he's created here. It's just these people are sad people.
Well,
that's because go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the most frustrating things that I read about that whole Ren feminist bullshit that happened, she misquoted him. And then she misquoted him and was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope he has an editor." And it's like, okay, first off, as a fellow female, right? As a fellow female, what the fuck, you bitch? Are you serious? Like, why are you sitting here and you take somebody who is doing such amazing things and then you distill it down to the dumbest possible, like, simplest explanation of something, and then you go, well, I hope he has an editor because obviously him being deaf means that he's completely shit. And it's like, do you not hear yourself in the hypocrisy in what you just said?
They aren't very good intersectionalists, are they?
No,
in the oppression. If he wanted to compete in the oppression Olympics, he would have just broke some off on that ass, but he didn't. What he did instead is he made a damn book and he broke some off on that ass.
Exactly.
Yeah, he put in the hard work.
He
put in the hard work, and this is what we get. Amazing work.
Right. Well, and the thing that bothers me is as a woman, right? As a woman, do you have any idea how many times I have women that tell me that men are keeping me down and it's the patriarchy that's got me brainwashed into whatever. And when I disagree with them, they go, "Oh, well, you just don't know any better, so we're going to speak on your behalf because you're too stupid to know." And I'm like, isn't this exactly what you say men say about me? And then you just went and said it. And I'm over here like, I'm telling you genuinely, Kyle has a phenomenal project. Mm-hmm. And you're over here saying, "Oh, well, you're just too stupid to know. So let me tell you why his project is stupid." I'm like, okay, I don't know what kind of 400-pound bitch you are, but why don't you come at me and let's see how this pans out. I'm 6'1". Let me see you kick your ass. Like, I'm done. Don't mess with my Kyle. Like, he's awesome. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
I think the talent, like, really, if you want to put these people in their place, you do it with success. They hate success. I mean, that's EVS said this, and I very much agree with that. If you really want to see how vile they'll act, you look at people when they have success. Like him, they went after him because he's successful. When Meyer was, look at what they did when he started being successful. And I mean, like for myself, like when I started getting noticed for Weed Wars, and a book out there, holy crap, they went insane, Well,
and the thing that's stupid is the stuff that they decide to pick on, because for Kyle, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I hope he has an editor. Look at how shit his grammar is." And then they misquoted his grammar to make it sound stupid. And it's like, his grammar was fine. Like, yes, okay, we could have fixed things to make it a little bit more clear, but his grammar wasn't really the problem. You decided to highlight it because you knew that he was deaf and you knew that it was something that you could go after, which really makes you very despicable. Like, it makes you the worst kind of person.
The people that made
they're scum.
The people that made a Southerner hate the word y'all. Yeah, fuck them. They don't get to tell me anything.
And this is the thing, they want to be grammar Nazis, right? I understand, I'm a writer. There's got to be a certain level of understanding in the communications. But sometimes I misspell on social media intentionally to shit these people. Gail called me the Shakespeare of Comicsgate, and I sort of ran with it, deliberately sort of trolled with that. But like, the purpose of communication, if we go back again to Shakespearean time, and we look at how language has evolved, how fishes is now a word, like it used to be fish. It's like language changes so long as the intention, especially in comic books, so long as the intent of your communication is transferred, is communicated with the reader, with the audience, you've succeeded, right? So long as they understand the tone. Not everything's going to sound like poetry, because you put poetry in a horror book, it's not going to work. You put poetry in an action book, it's not going to work.
Right. No, and the way that they talk about stuff is they like to create ridiculous stipulations to prove their points, which never actually prove their points. They like to say, like, "Oh, well, in this specific situation, like, poetic license doesn't apply." And you're like, okay, but we're not talking about your stupid situation that you decided to create for no reason. We're talking about this. And they're like, no, what I said was legit. And you're like, oh. because you said it was legit, that's what makes it legit. It's just so, oh my gosh. Like, I wish I could put into words how frustrating it is. But I've literally had women who told me, because I said specifically, like, I didn't support the Women's March in DC because they didn't march for anything.
Fucking Dan Slott's back on. I didn't realize Dan Slott. You know, Dan Slott was the guy that he really introduced me to how shitty these people are. I was never a big social media person. You know, I thought I would get involved to see how Twitter was, just to see what people were talking about. And I followed a bunch of people my first day. And the second day, a blog bot dropped. You know, I woke up, I thought, what the fuck? So I asked, you know, some of the people that were remaining. I was like, you know, why did this happen? And I remember, I can't remember which female creator screenshot what I said and said, you know, of why this happened. They said, because you're a Nazi piece of shit, POS. And Dan Slott liked it, and Dan Slott laughed underneath it. And I was like, I
think we just took over. I think we just took over Iron Sights. I think we're ahead of Iron Sights now.
Did we really?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
No, I thought Iron Sights had 19 something.
It's 119.
Oh, did it?
19.24. Yeah.
Damn, my bad. Sorry.
I thought, good God, how did that happen? Yeah. Did I fall asleep or something?
Yeah. No, it was the 6. My bad. Sorry, I just saw it click over to 6, and I thought, that's it, isn't it? That's it,
you know what? It's okay, Liam. We're all very excited for Kyle.
No, I mean, you know, it is. It's awesome there. It's awesome that hey, is EBS warming up a stream? Is that real?
Yeah.
Somebody said he's warming up a stream. So
he's got to get it super warm, and then Kyle can come in and like swoop in and take it over. It'll be fine.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's been killing it. I'm like I said, I'm proud of it. I am proud of the project. You know,
I am super proud of Kyle.
I'm putting my, you know, I'm putting any of my, if I have any say, or if I can say, hey, if I can sway any people, I'll put it behind the people I trust. Like I said, I know there's talent with people like Van Sciver, you know, people like Malin, but again, people like Kyle. You know, I'm not going to put it behind a lot of projects, but when I put it there, you know, I'm trying to vouch for projects that I really do fundamentally believe in.
You're going to enjoy, and that's totally normal. I think that's what everyone should be doing. You know, it's just great that there's this huge demand. There's this great lie that they needed to write these cardboard Cali art style characters because those were the only people buying books, and they weren't selling. But really, they're just driving audiences away. Then Kyle, he comes along, he does something like this, like StarBlades, and he gets, you know, $115,000. It's just amazing.
He drops the pimp hand on it. See, that's what it is. You come in and you drop that freaking pimp hand, you know, and then later on when it's in demand, you powder that sucker up a little bit more. But you know, I mean, that's what you got to do, and you put it right across the cheek of the industry, you know.
You know, and it's great. There's demand for this stuff. Like, this stuff isn't out there. It's kind of like a badass Green Lantern fantasy work. Like, it's got a whole universe. It's got this cool sort of storyline with this sort of star metal stuff and these sort of spiritual tribes with these sort of the cool sort of animal visuals, sort of, instead of lantern constructs. It all is just really, really cool. It's really awesome.
It's one backer away from 1900 as well. Like, let's see who gets in there. We're at, you know, 116,430, but you know, right at 1900 backer, like I say, out the gate, that's amazing. I see these people that are held aloft. They're giving, actually, Dan Slott, when I just made that comment, you know, he's talking smack, trying to say how you know, Visaggio is great. Okay, well, Visaggio's projects, again, not talking about quality or anything else, but her projects, they level about 2,000 backers or less. So you're talking about right out the gate, not only making this level of money, but also having that many people that believe in that. And, you know, I think that's awesome. I think that says something, and it's only up from there. You know, that's the way you go.
Yeah. No, I'm just, honestly, I'm so impressed with this whole thing. Like, I keep saying it, but since I first saw it, since he first sort of showed it to me, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be absolutely huge. And it's just gotten better and better as we've gone along. And it's not just this amazing property that you get to be excited for, but there's this awesome fandom swell underneath it. And we have an open line of communication with the customer, with the fans. We get to sort of help them be a part of this too. It's the spirit of, it's the spirit of business. It's the spirit of comics, like the old soapbox days. It's good. We need more of it,
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly 1 hour.
I miss fun in comics. I think we're getting back to it. Oh man, are we getting down to our last hour? Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Ethan, if he's really starting up a stream, will maybe get
see. I mean, regardless, like people, again, if you are going to back, like I said, you get it in there. You can show what in a month, a comic book. These people can sit out there and talk as much shit as they want. The thing that they can't do is they cannot emulate success. They are not likable people. They're scum. They act like it because and they hate success. So give them something to hate. That's what I always look at.
It's envy. These are people motivated by envy and spite. They get down into the lowest, most malice-driven, bitter, consumed part of themselves, right? They get drained down into this drudgery and into this depression and into this mental illness. Because you look and they're all mentally ill, right? They're all talking about their problems. They get locked down into this despair and they allow it to become their identity. And so the only thing that they sort of can express is their bitterness, is their malice, is their desire to tear others down. Like crabs in a barrel, they don't want to aspire or rise up themselves because they're content in their failure, and misery loves company, right? So they just want to drag everyone else down and refuse to acknowledge that anyone else has any sort of dreams or hope or talent. And seeing that, it enrages them. Seeing people succeed, it enrages them because every single doll you make is a sign that they're a failure.
It should piss them off too. It really should piss them off. I mean, but people that are down in the mud, they don't mind. They don't mind getting dirty. They're already there. As long as they drag you into that. But again, they convince people. I had people telling me that you did it wrong. If you would have just waited a couple of years and you would have done this stuff the right way, like what? You would have helped me fail? Fuck you. And that's.
Do you know how many memories you're going to have with your daughter that are now on video because you did it now when she's young, before she's off at school? Like you've got everything going on. You did an amazing campaign. You did everything right, Tug. You did everything right, and you're going to look back and you're going to have great memories in your life because of it.
Well, and we can keep building on these platforms. We're building the foundation. In my opinion, yes, we're all independent pros, but like I said, there are certain pros that I feel are the foundations of what we're looking at when we go out with crowdfund. Again, Van Sciver's lent his platform to many, and he himself is not only a powerful platform, but he's a powerful artist in that. You have John Malins, you have all the talents like the Millers and stuff. These people can help build a platform if they want to, and Kyle's one of them. Again, I'd like to see in 5 years what that stuff becomes. I mean, these that's the thing. When I think about giving something to my kid, I'm going to give my kid something to say, hey, here's a postcard from the past. This is, the comic, maybe you remember. But maybe we can actually be able to give them also comic books in the future. Comic book. These people are killing our industry. We have to have new pros. We have to have people the kids can look up to. People that are decent. That earn the word pro. And there's a few of them in the industry, granted, but I said, I don't see that many up and comers that they talk about that aren't scummy. I mean, just absolutely scummy. That's why
it's because they are scummy. They're only bringing scummy people up because they have they know that the industry is going to sink. They know that it's going to tank. So you look at who all these people are bringing in. They're bringing in people to establish contacts with Hollywood, and they're shifting a lot of their business and a lot of their time over to like Marvel Entertainment or media groups, because they're just waiting for the comic book industry to sink. Then they're just going to jump ship. They use all of the contacts that they've built up in the last 5 or so years, 7 or so years, to sort of stay relevant in Hollywood and sort of eke by that way. That's their whole plan, and it's pretty shitty. But it's the reason that Whedon got on Runaways. It's the reason that I don't want to name too many names, but it's a mess, and it's selfish people doing selfish things. No one's thinking about the superheroes. No one's thinking about the kids. No one's thinking about making culture better. No one's thinking about inspiring people or great stories. They're all just trying to get through the routine and make friends. That's all they're trying to do.
They don't care about sustainable industry. These are not, yes. You know, one of the most powerful statements that you hear, like a person like EVS say, is he's a capitalist. Capitalists, mm-hmm. They want your money. Okay, if they want your money, they want it long term, and they want a sustainable model that also you have to sustain that model by giving customers what they want, but also by trying to retain customers and, you know, going out and getting new ones. We get new ones all the time too. When we started talking about Weebors, you know, when we started talking about that, we also took comics with us. You know, we introduced certain professionals, so you know we could get that message out there. If you want to change things, back independent projects. EVS and other people have taken it to Star Wars. We also, you know, have taken that to the Star Trek folks too, because Weebors, you know, shot off into Star Trek Continues. So it's interesting. Like I say, if you give it a few years, this stuff, it'll be out there. And remember too, you know, if you look at backable projects, you know, if you look at that, a lot of people want that first EVS Cyberfrog cover, you know, that was out there that went away. Well, a lot of these first off books, yeah, you may get a second copy of a first off book, but man, get in there on the ground floor, get you one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Again, that's why I use the whole Eastman and Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle analogy. These are multiple books that are going to be blowing up big. The scene's changed; it's different. So instead of going through the con routes, we're doing it through the YouTubes. But people have a real opportunity to get on board with stuff that's going to be really big, because the degradation, the corruption, and the degeneration of the industry has put it in a position that it has become creatively bankrupt. And it does not have the talent to compete with us, frankly. And there's systems in place that mean we no longer need them to succeed. They've got a multi-billion-dollar marketing machine behind them, like both the big two, and more if we include if we throw Diamond in too. And we're doing incredibly well with this grassroots stuff. And it's just a matter of time before people start to see where the money's at. You know?
And we are fighting. I mean, we literally are fighting their advertisement machine. You know, they have shill media. They have all of that stuff. We have no media help. Like, our media help is literally, hey, let's get on YouTube or let's get on Twitter. You know, mm-hmm. Our platforms get bigger each time too. Like when I first started talking about comic books, you know, when I had people on, I had a platform of, you know, 1 to 3,000 folks. Now, you know, I have over 40,000 subs. Yellow Flash has over, you know, 80,000. EVS is 130,000. Plus, actually, Twitter, if utilized properly, can lead to sales too. Like I said, this stuff grows, you know, incrementally all the time. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm every now and then I feel proud of a project, and you know, this is one of them. Like,
yeah.
You know, yeah. I feel impressed usually by a couple of projects a month. Ones that I back a lot of projects. Hey, by the way, Kyle Ritter is over 117,000. Props there. EBS is talking about it too. People were saying, so that's awesome. You know, like I'm glad. Like, so many people are supporting that. I mean, that says something as well. You know, so many people are actually supporting Kyle. So that's good, especially in this last day here, you know, right down into the last hour of this stuff. I mean, we're getting down to the wire. If you want to back
That's my boy there in the chat, Odie. You know, he says, Kyle rocks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm not easily impressed with comics because I'm more of a manga guy, but this stuff is just amazing. Odie loves Kyle. We all do. Kyle's just an inspiration.
Did Shay disappear?
Yeah.
She did for a few.
Okay. I was like, I haven't heard her talk for a minute. So I heard it saw
Yeah, she was going to the bathroom and splashing some water and stuff like that.
Oh my God, Ricada ate a ghost pepper. Oh, Jesus wept. You know why he did that? Because he said he would have somebody put that in the thing. He was going to have a 75,000, sub live stream thing, and he apparently ate a ghost pepper on there. Oh Lord, that's torture.
Why would you ever voluntarily eat a ghost pepper? I don't understand.
Shall we have our discussion about your Twitter? And in fact, type something in the channel so that they can all follow you.
I really don't want to.
So Shay does disgusting food challenges once she passes Twitter follower milestones. And her next one is at 750, of which you're how many away, Shay?
I mean, you would know better than I didn't look.
You're okay. Yeah, I'm running a stream off a Chromebook, but I'll do that for you right now.
Oh, hold on 1 sec. I'll check.
No, I'm already refreshing.
Oh my gosh, you're such an ass.
317 years from now, it'll. You're 6 away. You're 6
okay,
away.
I am 6 away. Okay, so because Sai is a dickhead.
He said I would eat something disgusting. I was thinking, man, the stuff we talked about tonight, like pube mustaches.
No. It's real food. Oh, wow. So far I've had to eat peanut butter and mayo or Miracle Whip, which is one of my mother's favorite sandwiches for some reason. I don't understand. It's disgusting. It's horrible. I've had to eat corn dogs with ranch, which may not sound terrible until you realize that corn dogs are made with honey, and that is also fucking disgusting. The latest one that I did was for MK Gibson, which if you don't follow him, he has a lot of really, really great kind of like teen-esque stories and all of that. But he made me eat butter pecan ice cream with, what was it, roasted red pepper hummus, which is pretty disgusting. And then thanks to Sai, once I get 6 more followers, I have to eat. Gosh, my whole body's shaking trying to say this. It's so bad. I have to go to Taco Bell and get their Cinnabon Delights, which are delicious and lovely, and I love them so much, and I have to eat them with wasabi horseradish. So I've got 6 followers away before that's my hell.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And every time, yes, there was. Thank you, Lola. Yes, there was a banana with ranch. That was Kyle's doing because he's a horrible human being. And just to throw this out there, at least like the butter pecan and the roasted red pepper hummus, those flavors eventually mix. Banana and ranch never mixes. It's either banana or ranch, and those are the 2 things that you taste the entire time, and it is the most disgusting thing I think I've ever had to eat. And if you see Kyle, he is lovingly miming the fact that he made this my reality, and it was horrible. It was so bad. And every single time I do this, I film it, so you get to see my actual unfettered reactions. I actually had Aaron Calamari accuse me of being of overselling it when I had to do the peanut butter and Miracle Whip. So, full disclosure, my mother eats peanut butter and Miracle Whip on the regular because she grew up in a really poor household, and they ran out of jam, I guess. I don't know how you run out of jam, but she ran out of jam but not peanut butter. And so this is something that she made to try and mitigate that, and she ended up loving it, and that's something that she eats regularly and absolutely loves it. I went 33 years without ever having to eat it. And then
I have to interject. Look at the new total on the screen, please.
Please do. Woohoo!
So he's 2,500 away from my prediction.
That's awesome.
It's great.
Banana pancakes and ranch all the time. Okay, Mikey Woods, you're just a lying sack of shit, is what that is. But no, banana. So out of all of the flavors that I've had to do, banana and ranch never mix. It's just either banana or ranch, and you get them simultaneously in your mouth, and it's probably the worst thing I think I've had so far. But we'll see when I have wasabi horseradish and cinnamon delights, which is going to ruin cinnamon delights for me for the rest of my life.
There you go, Shay.
Lola, I love you so much. You're like my favorite. Do not listen to Cyborg. Stop following me. Nobody follow me. Don't follow me anymore. My life is going to suck.
It's got a plateau. There's got to be a point where you reach peak disgusting and there's just nothing worse for you to eat anymore.
So Liam, you would think, but people keep upping it, and every single time it gets more horrific.
So Sherry's actually talked about this being her last challenge that she'll do. So that's why it's kind of important that she hit the 7K.
This is most likely my last one, unless somebody really, really, really thinks that getting me to 100,000 or to 1,000 whatever followers is gonna somehow be some kind of a milestone that needs to be, stone capped with a horrific food challenge, which I don't see happening.
I've been shocked by watching platforms grow out there. I mean, I don't value Twitter very much, and I was like, holy shit, how did I get 12,000 followers on this platform? But we need to stretch into like Instagram and everything else. Like I say, every platform we're on, we're showcasing what's there. We hit more people, and
yeah,
again, every year we we have more and more people reaching out and getting that message out there. If you thought this stuff was big, when I look back, I used to think, man, look at when EBS platformed with like Ravage and Trunk Space Force and all those books. Look at what they earned. But you know what? Now books are actually picking up more backers, and they're picking up more earning potential there. It was an exciting time there, but there are more people with their eyes on this stuff. And I don't know. I think again, there are a lot of people out there that want to sell the myth that everything's over. No, man, indie comics
never
be over.
We're nowhere near done. Everybody pretending that like for some reason that indie comics is like doomed. It's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. The things that are coming out of indie comics, the like ingenuity and the creativity and the level of art, the storytelling, like it's blowing the big two out of the water, which is so sad because they've been around for so long.
And they have all the IPs. I mean,
they do. They literally they own everything, and yet you have all of these indie creators who are coming up and saying like, "Nah, I can do it better," and they actually end up doing it better and making DC and Marvel look like complete punks, and it's fantastic. I love it so much.
DC and Marvel keep aging out their good writing talent.
They've got
great artists. They're aging out their writing talent, for a starter. That's a problem. The whole aged out myth. I think that's something that needs to be addressed. But also, they've got this kind of mentality that they've got to chase the dollar instead of make the dollar. So rather than building up on the superhero soap opera and having us come back and care about the lives of these characters, they're relying purely on hype as the storytelling mechanism in their work. So everything's the next big event. Everything is about basically this idea that the sort of the powers that be will say like, well, every story's being told. So they're telling these character-driven stories where it's just people sitting around a dinner table talking about crime fighting, and it's just it's not what people want. You've got to. They come to superhero books for superhero stories, and they're not telling them.
We don't want Blue Bloods Gotham edition. Like that's not what we're going for.
I'm glad their failure though again is our chance to redefine. So
it is. It is.
it used to be very depressing, you know. I mean, like I said, when I first thought about this stuff, it really was a depressing thing. But again, you know, getting past that, it's like breaking old habits. Nostalgia, it's not coming back. You know, we're never going to get those comic books that we had in the past. They don't exist anymore. The type of creators that made them, they do exist, but they don't exist in those companies anymore.
Yep, exactly. So let's just make stuff that people want. They'll buy it, and then we'll be the people that are running everything. It's their fault. It's their fault. They want to pick and choose the qualifications of people based off their political leanings rather than their actual talents.
I want to thank all the consumers that pick up with us too. You know, I really do. Like all of the people that back all of us. I mean, it's sincerely, you know, and cut us like for myself, you cut me slack, you know, because hey, you know, like all of us aren't as nice as Kyle. You know? He's a nice guy. Like for myself, I'm an asshole sometimes, and you know, it happens. So they do. They go out there, you know, they back all of this. They want something new. They love comic books, but they don't want to be treated like garbage.
Right. Well, and personally, I really hate when I feel like people are pandering to me. Like out of all of the pet peeves in the face of the planet, there are two things that you can do that will make me absolutely despise you. Pander to me like I'm an idiot, and lie to me. And those are the two things that the big two do every single chance they get. They lie about whatever their motivation is, or they lie about whatever it is that they're hoping to achieve. And they pander like you're an idiot. And like that's, I'm just saying, like, I may not be the most intelligent person in the face of the planet. In fact, I guarantee you I'm nowhere near that, but I'm not a fucking idiot. So stop talking to me like I just poor little woman that doesn't know better. Because the only person I've ever heard that from has been it's been feminists. I've never heard it from a guy. Like the feminists are like, oh, the patriarchy is keeping you down. I've never once heard a man be like, you're too stupid to know. So, sweetie, let me tell you. It's always been other women. And it's usually women that have infiltrated something that I love, like comics. And they're like, you just don't understand how pervasive it is. I'm like, this is what you say men are doing. And I like, the only people I felt it from is other women. Aren't we supposed to be like solidarity, like boob power or something? I don't know.
Women, and this is real of monkeys. So you know, this isn't just humans. This is real. Women are the arbiters of social grace in primates and in human society. They're the people that inform the rules. They decide who gets to reproduce, who gets love, who gets affection. They're the mothers, they're the women, and they're ultimately who the men are trying to impress. So you will find that it is extremely common that most of the people that are enforcing social rules or stigma, again, this is in primates, are females. They are they're the glue that holds together society. That's why I won't get too political, but that's the reason that, as with the rise of feminism, we've had a decline in marriage, and divorce has increased because be free is more important than get along with your partner and make things work out. So you've got everyone always looking for the next best thing instead of trying to build something enduring. And it has permeated and infected every aspect of society to the point where it's falling apart. And they look at superheroes and they see this relic of masculinity, this culture of self-sacrifice and shameless embrace of nobility and risk and reward and the fantastic, and they think we got to control that because we don't want little boys growing up to be angry or face real challenges. They want people that will submit and be controlled easily.
Right. Well, and I honestly, I think one of the biggest things is people don't treat other people like human beings. Like we focus so much on whatever little box you tick. If you're a specific ethnicity or a specific gender or specific identity, and it's like, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human. That's what matters. It doesn't. I don't care who you want to spend the rest of your life with, or who you identify as, or what race you are. I care that you're another human being, and as a human, there are so many things that we relate on. There's specific emotions, and there's the feelings, there's the engagement with other people. That's what ends up mattering. And when they try to strip all that away,
there's a lot of stuff that we don't relate on that is very different, that you
Right.
need the perspective and opinions of other people on because you can't understand that perspective.
Exactly. Like the fact that we're all on a level playing field is both true and not true at the same time. Like I believe everybody has the same opportunities. It's a matter of whether you see yourself as somebody who is lacking that opportunity or not, as to whether you take it. Because there's plenty of times where the amount of people, I actually worked with somebody who thought that everyone who was a certain race had a certain kind of privilege, right? Mm-hmm. And so I started describing to them somebody that I knew who had been through a broken home and drug addiction and literally being held at gunpoint at plenty of times and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, that sounds like a brother. And I was like, dude, that's my husband, Caucasian. He's been through the same thing you've been through. Just because you don't think that it's something that happens doesn't mean it's not something that happens. It means that you've kept everything in such a box that you stop looking at people as human.
Tribalism is easy. It's a trap where we think like it's my side or their side, and there is a level of truth to it. There is a reason that sort of mentality exists. But if you don't have an awareness of it, if you're not self-aware enough and you can't be objective, hey, it's the kiddo.
Yeah, they're talking. Yeah, okay.
Is that Lug?
Yeah, somebody is skipping out. Hey, can you let's note one time right now, but before everybody forgets while we're here, it's we're in our last hour of Kyle Ritter's book. This is the last hour of it up there. It's at 18:02:05. 1 second, baby. It's at 18:02:05, and we're down now. You already know what the name is. You don't remember?
Lug is my serious favorite.
Hey, you got to tell people to you got to tell people about this book, because this book is what we're talking about. Hey, you remember how we start our videos? You wanna show them how good you are at this? People think we practice our beginning of our video. They're like,
no, we don't.
We don't at all. Let's do it.
Practice on videos makes worse.
Yeah, make worse.
But practicing on songs is good.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do one. You want to do a beginning? Here. So let's say, if you like this kind of content, what should they do?
Hit that bell for notifications. Subscribe. Check out my comic. It's a cancel this, you know.
Yeah, they know. Actually, they should check out Kyle's comic. Can you check out Kyle's comic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say.
Yes.
That.
Check out Kyle's comic. I can do that, sweetie.
You can be forgetful sometimes, yeah. Well, as long as you're plugging that comic. You like comics like this, though? Look at that. Look at those. Look at those.
Has she seen his trailer? Has she seen what his trailer's like, Tug?
Just a second. She's talking about here. Do what now? What did you say? What? It's what?
I'll give him one. Kyle, $1 million. Wait, Kyle's my best friend.
Kyle's your best friend now? Whoa, dude. Now that is beyond boss. I can't believe he's your best friend now. Is it because he made a good comic book?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. That's pretty awesome. You would give him $1 million, you say. Whew. All right. Hey, what about going to bed?
Kyle, just an FYI, look, Kyle loves that you think that you guys are best friends. It made him smile.
Yeah. Kyle said, hey, he's your friend too.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one is my friend, one I don't know.
Well, okay.
Is Shay your friend?
Is Shay your friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're best friends.
That's true. You make new friends. So you're going to tell people to buy Kyle's book. There's only 1 hour left, and then it's gone forever. Well, that's the way she is.
Kyle's book. And just so we went out, so you have to buy it.
They have to buy it.
They have to buy it.
What do they get? If they get it, what comes with it? What you get the book, but what else? A ticket.
To the movies.
To the movies. That's pretty awesome.
Toy.
Oh, does it come? Hey, wait. Do they get anything else? Do they get
robots too? Beep beep beep.
Oh man, you get a robot. What's that robot do for you?
Anything.
Anything. Oh man.
You won't have to do anything. You can just relax at home.
That's cool. What about a Death Note? Do you think they can get one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh. Okay, my bad. Hey, what's the Death Note do, by the way?
Kill people when they write their names.
Oh man, what kind of bad things do people do to get written in a Death Note?
Steal and grab and take people to jail for no reason.
Oh yeah, false arrest. That's true. What about cutting in line?
Yep.
What about stealing candy?
Yep.
Oh god, that's terrible stuff.
Borrowing candy is not bad, but stealing candy.
What if they have to? What if they borrow and chew it up but then give it back?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the Death Note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get you killed. Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't tell people that.
Hey, bedtime. Go get in bed.
Bye.
No, that is mine. That belongs to my Star Wars girl. Give me a kiss.
Bye, sweetie. Sleep well, okay, Lug?
You go lay down, guys.
That, Michelle, I'm not Lug.
Yeah.
I'm Umbrella Girl.
Yeah, she's not Lug. She's Umbrella Girl right now.
I apologize. Umbrella Girl, I love you very much. I hope you have a very good night's sleep, sweetie.
All right, go lay down. Yeah. See you later. She's excited. Yeah,
she's the cutest thing ever.
Lord. She like takes over my live stream some days. I lose control.
Oh my gosh, I love her so much.
It's because she's a freaking. I'm like, man, you know, it's got to be a weird world to grow up around all this stuff. You know,
Probably.
I can't even imagine it. You know, the creativity that this will inspire. Again, that's. I would have killed to be around comic artists like this, and you know, to see talent like we see.
Honestly, so I have a proposition for you, like Tug, as I start to like actually stream. I would love to have Lug just come and crash it, just randomly, just have her like show up and derail. I love her so much.
She would not mind at all. You know?
Oh my gosh, she's the cutest thing in the face of the planet. I love her so much.
Hey, she's funny. She's a little nut. You know, my wife's like, "You created a mini you," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me."
Your poor wife. I feel like I owe her like a fruit basket or something at this point.
And we're only $1,600 off of that big goal. I mean, 16. You know, this comic book is moving along. Actually, you know, it's at 18. It's at 118,530. I mean, that's great. It can keep moving. You know, like I said, I'd like to see what it can do in this last bit. You know, prove to Shay you can hit that number 120.
I want to see 120. I feel like 120 is perfectly reasonable, although we do not have a lot of time left. But I still feel like you guys could do it.
28 minutes.
You have 28 minutes.
Again, if you're new to the stream, considering picking up the one of everything or grabbing the 6 covers, because you're going to be able to move them on the secondary market and make your money back.
Absolutely. And in all honesty, the Spirit Blade covers, they're like the whole thing that he did for that is just so freaking phenomenal. It's gorgeous.
I'm gonna put them up on my wall, like up here behind me, like a sort of poster. It's gonna be
exactly. Well, I was trying to get Kyle to agree to do for Crypto Fashion to do like this same kind of T-shirt, but do them all the Spirit Blades ones. So having one that had all of them across and had StarBlades on the back, and then one that had each individual one. Mm-hmm. All the way down. And I was like, I would go broke buying all of those just so I could sport all 6 of them.
It's just good because it gets people their favorites and stuff as well. But absolutely. I think that we might need more of a backers. If we could get up to 2,000 backers, I mean, we'd need another like 68 or so. But
right.
Somehow hit a well and get some people in here that didn't know about it, you know? That's why I was trying to shoot stuff out around Twitter, you know, to try and hit corners of the market that aren't Comicsgate, you know.
Right.
But I'm happy to see people that deserve to. There are a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of people out there too. I'm not saying that, you know, other people don't deserve success, but man, you know, it's, again, I'm glad to see good people being rewarded while being good people. You know,
right.
there's a lot of them. You know, there are a lot of good people out there. You know, we're all, again, when we get down to cornering this type of market, it's we can offer all types of stuff. But I mean, some people are offering, you know, stuff for kids. Some people are offering stuff for, you know, adult. I mean, but we're hitting every facet of the market, and I'm excited about it personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's hard not to be. It's hard not to be, especially when the bar's been raised so much. You know, now everyone else needs to step up. We need people that can measure up to Kyle. You know, and it's gonna be hard. But we've got the talent out there. Like if you've been watching Sim, you know, like Simon, his art over the last year has shot up. Yeah,
Sim is amazing talent, I have to say.
Yeah. And you look at what Peter's doing on the live streams and stuff. Like that turtle piece he did was just beautiful.
Well, and, you know, that's another thing. Like one thing I'm really proud of is being able to go out, mess around with this, you know, these folks and have them get, you know, career boost out of it. Like Peter Gilmore was always a talented person, but he didn't have enough eyes on him. And you know, if we can go out, we can put more eyes on people that are already talented, and we can say, like, look what these people stand for. You know, they actually they want you as a customer. You know, I don't know. I honestly think that whole paying your dues. Some people are great that have come out of that, but I think that people that have struggled around the periphery, those people really appreciate what it's like to pick up consumers.
And like, just comic books are about overcoming adversity. Okay, like no matter what they're about, every single comic book in some shape and form is about overcoming some kind of adversity. Even Superman, who is the Mary Sue of all characters, had to overcome the loss of an entire species, you know, the sort of idea that he'll never quite fit in with everyone else. And so when you have people that don't actually understand overcoming adversity or have had comfortable, easy lives, they can't tell those stories. They can just fake it, you know? So the struggle matters.
No, absolutely. I feel like the thing that makes a lot of these characters relatable is the fact that none of them are perfect. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's been through something, and I think that's something that everybody kind of relates to, because nobody's had a perfectly blessed life. Like that's not a thing. It's something that we like to tell ourselves that somebody has, but in reality, like the most put together person has probably been through something that's probably way more screwed up than we could ever imagine. And or
you screwed up behind the scenes, like, you know,
right?
Look at how they used to write Carol Danvers, like for real. I mean, she was an alcoholic that was just a screw up, and you know, you see this whitewashed version of characters these days. They don't want characters to face adversity. They don't want them to have to struggle, to have to overcome, to have to learn, to have to grow. They don't believe in the hero's journey or even the heroine's journey in some cases. It's just all spoon-fed, rah-rah. Everyone gets the participation trophy, and oh look, Thanos died. Aww.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is we have plenty of characters that are well established within like the big two that are very, very, very flawed. Like if you look at Robert Downey Jr.'s character when you talk about Iron Man, and especially in the movies, he's the insane narcissist, and that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily relate to, but people know people like that. You always know somebody who is just so like everything that they do is so amazing. And then to see a character like that and to see the opposite side of that and see the fact that like the guy who seems like he's just super full of himself, he's an alcoholic. He's got all of these other issues. It makes him more relatable.
Right, and he's then insecure, and he's he's these issues with his dad and never measuring up and all this stuff. Right. But that's what makes characters interesting. But you look at comic these days, and even getting past the problems with the art and Tug and probably Liam, I know you guys probably saw that panel that someone pointed out about the bathroom with the door that couldn't possibly open and the weird shit, and that was from the big two. And it's just like, you know, even if you get past all that, the characters are just boring.
They are. Well, and I think that I think one of the things that's probably been the most obvious is the lack of care for a lot of the characters, because like you said, they've become very one dimensional. They have like one motivating factor that 90% of the population can't relate to.
Wow.
And that's it. Like there's nothing further. There's nothing like I'm an alcoholic, and I'm an alcoholic because of all of this stuff. It's like, no, I'm just an alcoholic because I really like alcohol. And you're
because
like, well,
their marketing departments do not want characters that alienate people. So you've got to have these characters that are essentially, it's the opposite of what it used to be back in the 70s and the 80s, because essentially what's happened is they've said, okay, instead of superheroes being guys that, or and girls that have fantastic powers that are flung into difficult situations and then have to sort of balance it like sort of the Marvel way, they've sort of approached it from the 70s DC sort of angle, where it's like everyone's just a costume and a set of superpowers, and it could be anyone or anything, and they've really stripped away their identity, except they don't have the sort of the heroic virtues or values that they used to have, because those things alienate certain consumers.
We are less than $500 away from 20K, by the way.
Oh my gosh, $500 in 20 minutes.
We are down to 20 minutes. So if you want to get in, like I say, you hit that. This would literally make the last day like a $20,000 day. So I mean that. Oh man, I mean we are right there. Where are we at? 505. Oh, we have just passed Ironside, by the way, just to say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right,
I knew we could do it. This is up where it deserves to be.
You know, this success is everybody's success. Like
exactly.
Again, you know, the real thing, back comics because you want good comics. I mean, you know, I can tell you a million reasons why I like something, but back stuff because at the end of the day, you want good comics, and at the end of the day, you don't want people to treat you like garbage, you know. And
yeah,
I mean, this stuff again should be so. It should be so quote unquote common sense, but you know the social norms that these businesses have adopted they've flown out the window. You know, it's I don't know. I went out and spent $38 today. I went over to a comic shop. I tried out some new books so I could talk about them. I spent $38. I felt good about $6, I think. That's it. The rest of it,
it's hard, man. Remember a few years ago when we would walk when people would walk into comic stores and stuff, and you'd look around and you'd have like $50 in your wallet or whatever. You think, I want to buy some stuff, and you'd spend like 20 minutes, sometimes an hour, just being like, "There's nothing here I can even spend money on because it's all trash." Like, and then you have to
when you could buy something with $50 too, you know. Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, when you actually got down to what you buy these days, like again, when you're buying this stuff, you know, if you're buying the book from say Marvel, you spend $10 on a damn book from Marvel. They already have distribution; they don't have to pay for. Mm-hmm. They have all of this set up. You're basically lining their pockets for nothing. And you know, meanwhile, I mean, what did they just give you? Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't feel filled today, you know. And I saw plenty of $5, $7. You know, I looked at last month's leading comics out of the top 10, and you know, they've raised the bar on just, again, mass-produced comic books. The bar was $5 for just some shitty generic comic I don't want. 2 of the 10 were $7.99, and 1 of the 10 was $9.99. So, you know, I mean, that's insane. You know, we're talking about they have their own distribution. You don't get, you know, you're not talking about getting anything interesting with that. You know, here, like I said, all this. It is, of course, experiment. I don't want to overemphasize send a message with this stuff, but it does send a message too.
Yeah, but Tug, there are always back issues. You can always go and buy back issues. We don't need to make good stories today and compelling things because you can always buy back issues.
Okay, we are $375 away from 20K. So
this is awesome, guys.
Again. And we're down to the last 20 minutes, counting down there. I do not want it to sound telephony when I say that. I haven't been excited in a long time for something. Like when I say this shit again, I do not want people thinking I'm trying to upsell. I don't. If I believed in upselling shit, I would do it every day. I talk about my comic and maybe 4 other people sometimes, but I never spend hours talking about anything. I'm excited in that, and again, I got to see how Kyle wanted to be a professional, how Kyle actually treats other people in this. He doesn't. It's interesting when a professional, you can see the caliber of their work, but they seem like just one of us plebs because they hang out with us and fuck off with us. That means something. I like seeing artists come from the rabble, come out of the mess with us. I think that's amazing.
There are about 45 of you guys in the chat right now. You guys are the true believers. You guys are the hardcore. If you guys could just take the StarBlades link, throw it on social media, throw it on your Facebook, get it out there in this last 20 minutes, see if we can get this thing to 20,000. Right?
Come on, I want to hit 20,000.
You guys have that much power.
It'll hit it.
If you see it out there on social media now, like it, share it. Let's get this thing trending as best we can.
Actually, it's trending inside the damn inside of inside of Indiegogo. This thing has got to be.
Yep, #1 trending on Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Awesome.
It's blowing it up right now.
That's great. That's good.
Hey Trey.
Yeah.
We're down to the clock, that last 20 minutes, moments of truth.
Take my last tweet, unretweet it and retweet it.
Yeah.
I'm proud of. No matter what happens. Like I said, I'm proud to know that there is a fandom out there that stood up to the noise. They said, yeah, screw all you folks, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Oh wow, they're saying it's 200 something to go in the chat.
Kyle's been targeted because of, again, he actually, he went out and did something like that's so interesting that the same crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's less than 90. It's 90 away.
We're so close.
I'm so excited.
It'll hit it. It's going to be.
Gonna do it.
He has 14 minutes to get $90. He made it.
Oh, he's there. He's going to be there. Like it's. Like I said, you folks are awesome. Though seriously.
Do it. This is the power of Comicsgate, guys. This is, and again, you guys are the true believers. You guys are the heroes.
The power of people wanting something more, man. I'm proud. I am proud that assholes didn't take away our fandom, our stuff.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, because it's so easy. It's so easy for this vocal minority.
Boom.
Did he really? Yes.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
There you go, Kyle.
Congratulations, Kyle.
And $20.
Yeah, 120.20. Yeah, and it can keep, like I said, this stuff will keep moving, and I don't know. I'm proud of that, but I'm proud of Kyle.
Makes me happy. That makes me happy. That's great.
That's the same thing here. It warms your heart.
Yeah.
Out of everyone in Comicsgate, the nicest person to ever come across in Comicsgate, hitting over 120 before he closes is amazing.
What a hero. What a hero.
Like I said, he's got the second best comic book in there, right behind Littlest Umbrella. I would say that about everybody. I'm like, man, Ethan Van Sciver, he's the second best talent in comics.
Thank you to the guys in the chat. The fact, this is an investment. It's something that's going to be worth your while. You're not going to be able to buy a house with it, but you're going to be able to make your money back and share this joy with other people. And it's just, thank you so much for getting in, because I really believe in this project. I believe in Kyle, and you warm my heart seeing this kind of outpour for him,
Absolutely. And out of everybody that it could have happened to, it probably couldn't have happened to a nicer person, because out of everyone I've seen in Comicsgate, all of us at some point in time have gotten genuinely pissed off at somebody, and I've never seen Kyle pissed off at somebody. I've seen him unhappy with people, but his unhappy is just I'll just let them do their thing. And my unhappy is I'm going to set them on fire.
Like, look at all the people that dumped on him as he's just a sellout colorist, though, because he decided he would work with somebody they didn't like. Oh my God, he's a sellout, you know? And,
Exactly.
Yeah. Man, well, I'm glad that when he sold his soul, he sold it for $120K, baby.
I'm so proud of him.
Say this. I'm going into EVS's stream to thank him and the people that are watching him right now. He has 666 viewers.
Oh yeah, no, I've been going off on his stream a couple of times.
I'm glad, like I said, people can promote on different, everybody has been promoting everywhere, and it's absolutely astounding. I love it.
And I mean, I love Ethan. I love Ethan's show. I love Ethan's stream. I love what he's doing. But we've got 44 people here, and these guys are the StarBlades fans. These are the guys that want to be here. These are the true believers, the hardcore guys. So it's good to have an opportunity to get to know the base. It's good that they're here.
Absolutely. No, I mean, out of everyone it could have happened to, I'm so happy it happened to Kyle. He's a complete gem. He really is. We've got 10 minutes left. Oh my gosh. With 10 minutes to spare. I mean, probably more than that, but whatever.
Nine minutes.
It's amazing. Like it's exciting to watch these last days as they are. This, oh my man. I'm sure it's Kyle. He's probably like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I don't know. We did a $11,000 like little area, and it was amazing to watch. And the feeling is so exciting because people. It's not the money; it's that people want to back and they believe in you. That's that's the biggest thing. It's kind of a joy to know that people believe in what you do.
It really is. That people will support you through your dreams, and that's what Comicsgate is. It's not just about the culture or about inspiring the next generation. It's about for the creators and stuff like that. It's achieving their dream of making something that people will love because the mainstream's not doing it. So here we are.
So I love it. I was reading an Ethan stream, and I think somebody's just like, "Where's Kyle at?" And I was like, "He's on his own damn stream." He's in his channel, damn it.
What's been good? You've had this reminds me of how we used to promote. Like we would have multiple channels popping up talking about shit. And it's again that says something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had Malin doing a pre-recorded video because, of course, he can't live stream. So Malin did a premiere tonight for Kyle. And you earlier when I came on the chat, I'm so sorry I completely derailed your shit today. I came into the chat and I'm like, "Hey Tug, can I drop Kyle's link?" And he's like, he completely turns his entire live stream on a dime, and he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, it totally it'd been a crazy day, and I had. I talked, actually, Cyborg had hit me up about and mentioned that. And, it stuck with me because I thought, I really, really want to be able to, to talk about this project, but I'm not going to get to. And, oh, man, when that was brought up, I was like, hell yeah, I actually do get to cover this. I forgot, that's awesome.
Well, behalf of me, behalf of Shay, and absolutely on behalf of Kyle, thank you for doing that because that gave him a real boost. He would be at about 118 right now without your stream.
It did, and
he did all the work. Those folks do all the work. I have a microphone, but I mean honestly, being able to convey that something is that I actually enjoy something. Hell, that's actually that's actually a treat. Like I said, I don't get excited for a lot of stuff anymore.
Yeah, right.
No, hey, we just got 6 more backers.
Oh my god! Because why not, right?
Well, I mean, you got with EBS Plus. I mean, there's a lot of links and everything else flying around. You're gonna have a lot of
down to the clock.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Like, so this sounds so stupid and patronizing, but because Kyle is such a good friend, and he became such a good friend so quickly for me. Like, seeing him succeed genuinely makes me so fucking happy. Like when he hit over 100K, like, okay, to put it into perspective, I knew I had to get up early for a con today. I knew that I was going to be streaming late tonight, and I stayed up because we got so close to ticking over to 100K, and I had been waiting for 6 months for this moment. And whoever backed him to 20 shy of that point, and I said, you know what, fuck it, we're doing it. I'm getting the StarBlades cover that I wanted anyway. And I went through and was like, if I got to work a weekend of like 12s or whatever for me to be able to buy this, that's what I'm doing, because it's Kyle. And out of everyone in Comicsgate, Kyle is the one person that I will absolutely put in extra hours at Garbage Bukkake for. As much as I hate that job. But it was one of those moments where you get to watch it tick over, and you just feeling a part of something that is that big was just it. I mean, Sai was there. It was unbelievable. The three of us were just like blubbering because we were just like, oh my gosh, you made it over 6K or over six figures.
We just got three more. And we're down to the last 5 minutes. So I wonder if we're going to get a whale come in and do a big buyout right in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, you'll get a wave toward the end usually.
Because I know there's a bunch of guys. I've done it that'll wait and drop a couple of grand right in the last minute.
Oh God, I know somebody. Shay, you know who I'm talking about. A certain someone in Pacific time.
5 minutes.
She's just gonna go refreshing.
I am. I'm just obsessively refreshing at this point. Oh my gosh. Seriously, like I just feel so happy. And it's not like I'm not getting anything for this other than the fact that I know that a very, very good friend is getting exactly what he deserves, and it makes me feel so happy.
It does.
I like when you have. No, it's a friend's success is your success.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
it really is, and especially when you have a friend that's as genuine as Kyle is, it just kind of turns into like there's nothing better than watching him be able to succeed as well as he has been able to succeed, and with the fact that it's his first campaign and a couple of pitfalls and a couple of mistakes that everybody makes in these campaigns, and he's still so successful. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 30-day bounce trick that he didn't even use. He just
Exactly.
set it for 60 right out of the gate, and he's still this successful. It's
people ask how to be successful, though. Like, seriously, they ask all the time. What you do is, you go out and you find your audience beforehand. Now, Kyle found his audience in a few ways. He's already been on a project that, was a very successful project, but he went out, he built his audience, he put his name out there. If I see a lot of people that have this expectation of having a gigantic success, but they pop in and all they do is rely on other people. If you want other people to help you, you rely on yourself. If you go out there and you have like Kyle has the currency of his name. His name is out there. A lot of people know it. Like I recognize his name there. So, boom, there it is.
Wow, 121.
And I get it. It's hard. There are people who complain about that. Like I've felt that way. I'm not a streamer, but then you see guys like Kyle here, Kyle freaking Ritter, right? Kyle the King Ritter, who he can't even speak. The man can't hear a word we're saying, and he's making this kind of money. He's here on the stream. He's a real life fucking hero, right? And you think you got to get out there and you just got to do the work. You just got to do it,
Right. Well, and I think that's one thing that's really kind of obvious with Kyle is he's not afraid of hard work. He's not afraid to put in the hours and to put in the dedication. And like with his video, he had no idea how to use Adobe Premiere before this. He watched so many YouTube videos and he stressed over this for a month straight.
Yeah.
A full month. And it was a full month of like Sai and I going, oh my gosh, sweetie, just abandon it. Like you're so far into your campaigin, just forget about it. He's like, I'm gonna do it. You don't understand. Yeah. And then this is what he produces, and you're like, you know what? Forget it. I said anything. It was obviously amazing.
You're not just investing in Kyle. You're not just investing in the first issue of StarBlades. You're investing in a franchise, in a future property, in something that's going to carry on and be ongoing. And we're down to 2 minutes. We've got 2 minutes. So if you want to get in now, you know, you've got 2 minutes.
121, man. You know, isn't 121 already? This is. He's got a monster there, but you know, it deserves it. It does. A 90 freaking page book. Like, that's the beautiful thing about some of the artists that offer their own book. Like, I can't offer a 90-page book. You know, I can't bringing in the talent and stuff. Like, it would murder everything there. But the artists, they're able to bring that in because, you know, well, they pay themselves, and you know, they want to put out again their opus. So I mean. 90 pages is a phenomenal size book.
Well, and to be honest, I think it's something that is worth repeating, that I don't think that people understand how much a lot of these artists that are really, really dedicated to their goal, they're undervaluing themselves in order to produce something that is to the caliber that they want to put out there for us. They are cutting themselves so short.
If you like what they do as far as good deeds, helping other people too, it's just like when you support a John Malin, for example, you allow his channel to continue running and stuff. You pay him for the year for doing this book. The same thing you're doing with Kyle Ritter. He's going out, he's helping other people and stuff. Well, you're doing that. You're helping it out. So.
Oh my gosh, he hit 121.85. That is so amazing.
Boom.
Oh, I'm so proud of him. Oh my gosh.
You legend.
There,
this
bam.
Is so good.
Dude, that's commendable. That's awesome. You know?
I told him weeks ago, because I'm looking at Backer Kit, and I'm like, you're Kyle fucking Ritter. You're going to hit 120. And he's like, you do you really think so? And I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. And here we are.
Yeah. Real life hero. Real life superhero.
Liam, Kyle says thank you for calling him a legend.
Well, he is.
I know he is. I agree. That's why I was like, I'm going to finger spell this shit out to you because I don't know the sign for legend. So I'm just going to finger spell it. Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's like such a relief, isn't it? It's like, whoosh.
Like I genuinely, I feel like I just ran like 5 miles. I feel like I ran like some kind of marathon or something.
A great time.
Oh, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Mm-hmm. And now he's going to be in demand until he's ready to go to print. And I mean,
he's going to hit 2. I really think it.
I genuinely hope he hits 2. If there's anyone who deserves 2, it would 1,000%.
He'll be working on it for a little while, so I mean, he can roll up. He'll at minimum hit his 150. I mean, like I said, this will be a money. This is his first foot out that door. I mean, like I said, you think this beast will be big, but man, this what it says about stuff to come. Holy crap, that's awesome. And I hope Kyle realizes, like, honestly, this is it says that a lot of people value him. So
it absolutely does. Well, and then on top of this, if you think about the fact that anytime somebody does an initial stream or initial campaign like this, there's always things that you don't consider until they become a problem for you in your current campaign. And you're like, oh shit, I had no idea that was a thing. Kyle was very, very well researched going into this, and he still had a couple of those tiny little hiccups, but he's got them to a point where he's like, okay, well, I might take a bit of a hit on the first book, but the second book, I'm solid. And I can't even fathom what his second book is going to be, because he's got so much extra knowledge about the tiny little things that maybe could have gone better. And then on top of that,
you learn a lot. I think too.
Right.
What you're seeing is you're seeing a lot of different people that are helping one another as well, getting together. You know, and we're I think we're all learning. You know, just as we all learn, we'll get a lot better. You know, I'm feeling.
Captain Hiltz says, Kyle Ritter, do you think you'll hit the January 2020 ship date? That seems tight.
That's a lot. I mean, well, I mean, 9 pages is a lot to create. I mean, does he?
So, to put it in realistic terms, when it comes to Kyle doing something that isn't a brand new skill, especially when it comes to drawing and coloring, the quickness with which he moves is kind of shocking. So the fact that like he put it as a January ship date, in all honesty, and this is somebody who is like a complete worrywart, I'm actually not concerned about him hitting that. I think that he's going to hit it without a problem.
Yeah, he's amazingly fast in how quickly he produces stuff. Even his turnaround on colors for EVS, he's amazing.
Does our boy Kyle have any drawing videos on his channel? Any sort of time lapse showing what he can do?
I've talked to him about that. It's something that he definitely wants to do more of, but it's something that he hasn't done a whole lot of, mostly because he kind of gets into the zone when he's coloring and he doesn't think to turn his camera on. And it's something that I'm trying to get him to be like, people want to see your process. Like,
I think that it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea and something that everyone should at least do one copy of if they're an artist, one video of, because it will let the audience see roughly how fast you can put a page together and give them a feel for what you can do. Now, every page is a bit different, but it's also nice having a record, I think. You know, like you go back in 10 years and you go, holy crap, I was shit. You know,
exactly. Well, and the funny thing is Kyle actually has done where he's recorded himself doing color work and stuff like that. And when people reach out to him for color work, because it's such a huge task for him to try and capture for each individual person, usually one of the first things he does is send him one of his videos of him coloring and say, this is how I color. See if you can look at this and maybe pull something from it that might be able to help you. And for most people, they watch that video and they're like, oh my gosh, that helped me leaps and bounds. I feel like I'm 5 years ahead of where I would have been otherwise. And they're able
He's a legend. The man's a prodigy. He's a prodigy. He's the next Jack Kirby. He is what is going to, like, he is, honest to God, one of the best talents that I've seen in the comic industry in years, like in 30 years. He is a savant, like, just incredible. Just incredible.
Absolutely. And the thing is he puts so much into everything that he does that you really, you feel his passion and you feel his drive and you feel his motivation, and it just kind of turns into this, everybody ends up the same level of like super motivated and super ready to do this as Kyle is, because his enthusiasm is infectious. I'm so happy he's my best friend. Like, seriously. I'm so happy that I got into this community and I was able to meet people like Liam, Tug, Cyborg, and then I get, you know, freaking Kyle Ritter as one of my absolute best friends in the entire world. And it's just so nice to be able to see like the progression and to be able to interact with people that are so professional and so
the friendships and opportunities that we have as Comicsgate should outshine all of the drama that keeps going on.
Right.
We have an opportunity to meet people from all corners of the world, from wherever we are. We're all working on the same thing. We can borrow techniques from one another. We can teach one another. We can share each other's experiences and burdens and help everyone go a step further than they could on their own. And because of the fan community that is possible, because of the creator community that is possible, that is Comicsgate. Kyle is one of the best parts of Comicsgate, a true legend. He's going to be one of the most famous creators in the entire industry.
1,000% agree. I think that Kyle is basically the future of comics. I think that
he'll have an Eisner. He'll have an Eisner for sure. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
So, folks, I think what this is all leading up to is we're getting ready to sign off. So, starting at the top.
It was exhausting in its way, but it was exciting, you know?
So, on behalf of Kyle, thank you to every single person who was here in the stream, who supported us, especially to our panelists, Liam Gray, Shay,
hey,
Pug. Go ahead and give any shout outs you guys want to.
Anyone? So if no one else is going to shout it out, I will say if you want to see some pretty awesome art, and one of the few things that Kyle has said that he's actually been somewhat impressed with, go to zombiepudding.com. That's S.C. Tonks's art. That's my husband, and he does a lot of really cool stuff. So I need to update his website, but that's at least where his stuff is.
1 second, so that Kyle doesn't cut us off.
Right.
Since Tug isn't doing it, it's still on demand, isn't it, Tug?
Oh, my book, yeah. My book's still
so, that old thing for
that little thing.
Yeah, I always forget to play. Yeah, I'm just like, that's right, book.
The Case of the Littlest Umbrella on Indiegogo. I'm sure that you can find it. Type in the word umbrella, sort through the things that actually look like umbrellas until you get to a comic.
Actually, if you type littlest umbrella, that's the smart thing with picking out another thing. Pick out a semi-unique name. If you go littlest umbrella and comic, boom, there you go, you're hit. Let me shout out one other project, Door Kickers. It has 2 days. I really like that too. So if people have not checked it out, I would suggest people look at that one as well. I mean, it's a much smaller project, but it's one that I think is really good too.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
Absolutely.
Just to really quickly plug something for Shay and me, we do comics promotion and some ancillary production like color flatting, editing, stuff like that. So if you want to hit us up on Twitter,
absolutely do.
Yeah, DMs are open. And
They
we'll
are.
happy to talk to you about it, Liam. Anything?
What do you got, Liam?
Well, let's see if people want to check out the Xenotype hashtag. That's XENO type on Twitter. You can sort of see my art where we're going with that. I haven't got an official release date or anything yet because stuff's going on. But come by, check me out on RetroBoy 1983 on Twitter. Just sort of keep up, say hello, and hello to Mike in the chat. We did good.
Yes, and thank you
great.
for all of our pros/celebs/ cool people that showed up tonight. I'm not going to name celebs over, the rest of us common folk, but
the plebes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone equally who showed up. Whether I like you or not. So
whether I like you or not.
Exactly.
Si's kind of a bitch. It's okay, everybody. She still loves you.
It's literally one of the 3 pronouns I had on Twitter before I cleaned up my profile to make it more professional. One of them was it. So
I just put on mine that I'm pronoun,
Yeah, I saw that. I read yours the other day. Because I was looking at that sign because, that sign's familiar to some people on the panel. It's an edited version of it, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Anyway, so yeah, thank you all for coming and have a great evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Awkward silence.
Still alive. Still alive.
That's how it goes. It's always so awkward.
7 years ago.
He's finding the button.
Buttons, keyboards.